Hello, my little vampires. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to the Enchanted Ones audiobook. Muggles might call it magic. A flick of a wand, a whispered spell, a world hidden behind stone and shadow. But to the ones who truly knew it, who laughed beneath the stars and dared to dream in the dark, it was something far greater. They called it the enchantment. It lived in the echo of Hogwarts halls, in Marauders, mischief, and midnight promises. In the way love dared to rise even when the world was burning. Some say it began with 4 boys, and the sister who carried their fire. Hayley Potter, brave as her brother, wilder than the wind that followed his laughter. She wasn't just part of their story. She was the heartbeat of it, the one who saw beyond the prank and the wand. The one who believed even broken magic could still heal the world. Some whisper it ended the war, but the ones who remember know the truth. It never truly ended, because the Enchanted Ones were never bound by time or death, only by the kind of magic that lives on in those who still believe. Here are the casts. Selena Gomez as Hayley Potter, Aaron Taylor-Johnson as James Potter, Andrew Garfield as Remus Lupin, Ben Barnes as Sirius Black, Abigail Cohen as Iris Evans, Sophie Skelton as Lily Evans, Dane DeHaan as Peter Pettigrew, Sophie Thatcher as Marlene McKinnon, Savannah Smith as Dorcas Meadows. Here are the playlists. Wolves, Selena Gomez. All I Want, Codaline. Saturn, Sleeping at Last. Youth, Daughter. Turning Page, Sleeping at Last. Ghost of You, 5 Seconds of Summer. Here is What They Think of Each Other. Haley James, Brother Codaline. James Haley, Count on Me, Bruno Mars. Haley Sirius, Team Lord. Sirius Haley, No Body, No Crime, Taylor Swift. Haley Remus, All I Want, Codaline. Remus Haley, Turning Page, Sleeping at Last. Haley Peter, Little Talks of Monsters and Men. Peter Haley, Jealous Labyrinth. Haley Lily, 1,000 Years, Christina Perry. Lily Haley, Girl on Fire, Alicia Keys. Haley Iris, Home, Philip Phillips. Iris Haley, Rise Up, Andra Day. Haley Marlene, Shake It Out, Florence plus the Machine. Marlene Haley, Dog Days Are Over, Florence plus the Machine. Haley Dorcas, Glarian Gore Lord. Dorcas Haley, Run Snow Patrol. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's begin. Black Sparkles. Chapter 1, Hogwarts Letter. Potter Cottage, Godric's Hollow, early morning. Haley, who is 11 years old, is asleep in her bed, starts to hear tapping at her window, which woke her up from her nap. Who's knocking at the window this early? Haley looks over to the window as she sat up, and she notices an owl with a letter on the windowsill, and she stands up and walks over to the window. Her breath catches as she opens the window. No way. The owl stepped inside before dropping off the letter on her bed, and it looks over to Haley. Haley looks at the owl before walking over to her bed and grabs the letter, and she sees the owl fly over to the window. Thank you, Haley whispers to the owl, which hoot back at her before flying back into the summer air. She stared at the envelope. The writing shimmered in emerald green ink. Miss H. Potter. The small bedroom. Potter Cottage. Godric's Hollow. Her hands trembled slightly as she turned it over. The red wax bore the crest of Hogwarts, the lion, the snake, the eagle, and the badger surrounding a proud H. Haley breathes in and out to brace herself from reading, and she broke the seal and unfolded the parchment. Dear Miss Potter, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Please find enclosed a list of all necessary books and equipment. Term begins on September 1. We await your owl no later than July 31. Yours sincerely, Minerva McGonagall, Deputy Headmistress. Haley stared the letter for a second, then her face broke into the biggest grin imaginable. She runs down the hallway, her bare feet thudding against the wood floor. "Mum, Dad, James," she yelled, clutching the letter in her hands. Her parents were in the kitchen, having a cup of tea when she bursts in. Euphemia nearly spilled her cup. "Hayley, what on earth?" "Mum, look," Hayley said as she's waving the letter. "It came, my Hogwarts letter." Fleamont's eyes lit up as he stood from his chair. "Already? Well, that's my girl," he said proudly, taking the parchment to glance at the seal. At that moment, a sleepy voice calls out from the stairs. "What's all the yelling about?" James Potter, still in his pajamas and with the messy hair, appeared with a yawn. Then he saw the letter, and his whole face lit up. "Wait, no way, you got your letter," he said, suddenly wide awake. Hayley nodded so fast that her hair flew into the face. "I'm going to Hogwarts too." James grinned, crossing the kitchen in 2 quick strides. "Well, about time. Now I won't be the only Potter at school. Don't worry, I'll show around." Euphemia chuckled softly. "You'll behave, won't you, James?" "Of course, Mum," he said, though his grin suggested otherwise. He turned back to his sister. "Just promise me one thing, Hales, don't try to outfly me on the Quidditch pitch." Hayley smirked. "No promises if I do get on in the future." Fleamont folded the parchment carefully. "We'll go to Diagon Alley tomorrow for your things," he said warmly before finishing off. "Book, robes, and a wand, your very first." Hayley's eyes widened in excitement. "My own wand," her voice full of wonder. James elbowed her playfully. "Wait until you get to Ollivander's. The old man's a bit odd, but it's brilliant. Mine chose me on the 3rd try." "Maybe mine will be better than yours," Hayley teased. James grinned. "You can try, little sis, but no wand can compete with this level of talent." "Talent or trouble?" Euphemia asked, raising an eyebrow. "Both," Hayley and James said at the same time, and then burst out laughing. Euphemia smiled fondly, shaking her head. "Merlin help Hogwarts." And as the laugher filled the Potter kitchen, Hayley clutched her letter to her chest, her heart racing with joy, nerves, and a hint of the adventure waiting beyond the castle walls. Chapter 3, Platform 9 3/4. Time skip, September 1st, King's Cross Station. Steam billowed around the platform as owls hooted and trunks clattered. Hayley clutched her ticket tightly. Platform 9 3/4. "Through there, sweetheart," Euphemia said, pointing toward the brick barrier between Platform 9 and 10. Hayley hesitated. "You mean run into it?" James laughed. "Just don't stop halfway or you'll end up with a headache." He grabbed her hand. "Come on, I'll go with you." They ran together, hand in hand, and the world shifted in a rush of magic. Suddenly, they were standing before a scarlet steam engine marked the Hogwarts Express, whistling proudly beneath a bright blue sky. Hayley's eyes filled with awe. "It's real," she whispered. "Of course it is," James said, smiling as he hefted her trunk onto the train. "Everything's real now." "There you are. Thought you lost track of time," a young boy called out before James looked at him. "Well," James said with a grin, "you try getting everything packed when your mum insists on checking your robes for cat hair 3 times. Sirius snorted. "Cat hair, that's what happens when you let a Kneasel run your household." Euphemia called out fondly, "Be nice, Sirius." Sirius grinned cheekily. "Always a Mrs. Potter." James rolled his eyes as Hayley giggled behind him. "Come on, Hales," he said, grabbing his broom and motioning towards Sirius. "Let's find a good compartment before Mr. Pureblood Perfection takes them all." Sirius puts his hand on his chest in mock offense. "Excuse me, I'm a picture of humility." "Yeah, right," Hayley teased softly, earning a grin from both boys. James looked back once more, at his and Hayley's parents waving proudly, at the plumes of smoke rising into the sky. "Ready?" he asked Hayley again. She nodded. "Let's go make some memories." "Take care of your sister, James," Euphemia said as she hugged them before they got on the train. "Always do," he said, though his grin couldn't hide the pride in his voice. And with that, they stepped onto the Hogwarts Express, the adventure of their lives just beginning. Chapter 4, On the Train. Time skip on the train. Hayley found an empty compartment and sat by the window, watching families weigh their goodbyes. James came to the door, already wearing his Gryffindor scarf. "Stick close to the nice kids," he said with a grin. "Avoid Slytherins unless you want a lecture on pure-blood superiority. And if anyone gives you trouble, tell them your brother knows the best way to charm a frog into their sock drawer." Hayley laughed. "Got it." He ruffled her hair one last time. "See you at Hogwarts, little sis." The train whistled, and James jogged back to join his friends further up the car, Sirius Black, loud and laughing about something ridiculous, and Remus Lupin, quiet but smiling faintly behind his book. Hayley watched them go, then turned back to the window. A moment later, the compartment door slid open. A red-haired girl stood there, green eyes bright but shy. Sorry," she said softly. "Everywhere is full. Mind if I sit here?" Hayley smiled warmly. "Of course not, I'm Hayley Potter." "Iris," the girl said with a smile, setting down her luggage. "Iris Evans." The train gave a mighty lurch, and they both laughed as they nearly fell off their seats. "First year?" Hayley asked. "Yeah," Iris said, brushing her hair back. "You." A woman with a trolley comes by the compartment, full of sweets. "Anything off the trolley, dears?" the woman said as she looks at Hayley and Iris. Hayley remembers that her mother gave her some money, and she pulls out some coins. "We'll take some." Iris looks over to Hayley a little shocked. The woman gives the girls some sweets and starts to move on. The two girls smiled at each other, strangers turned instant friends as the Hogwarts Express rolled into the horizon, carrying them towards magic, mischief, and the start of something extraordinary as they eat the sweets that Hayley bought. Chapter 5, The Sorting Ceremony. Time skip evening. The golden light of the setting sun bathed the train as it cut through green hills. Inside their compartment, Hayley and Iris had talked and laughed for hours about magic, about Hogwarts, about what their houses might be. "I think I'll be in Ravenclaw," Iris said thoughtfully. "Mum says I've read too many books for my own good." Hayley giggled. "James says Gryffindor's the best house because they have the most fun, but he's biased." The door slid open suddenly, and a boy with dark hair and a mischievous grin peeked inside. "Oi, Hales, there you are." Hayley's eyes widened. "James, you found us again." Behind him stood two other boys, one she already met, Sirius Black, and another who she didn't get a chance to meet until now, Remus Lupin. "This is my sister, Hayley," James said proudly, stepping aside. "And her friend." "Iris Evans," she said politely. Sirius gave a dramatic bow. "Pleasure, Iris Evans. I'm serious as in serious trouble." Remus rolled his eyes but smiled softly. "Don't mind him. He's been testing that joke all summer." Hayley laughed. "It's working." Sirius grinned. "See, Moony, someone appreciates art when they hear it." "Art," Remus murmured with a sigh. James ruffled Hayley's hair. "You nervous about the sorting?" "Maybe a little," she admitted. "What if I'm not in Gryffindor?" Sirius leaned against the doorframe. "Then you'll just start a new legacy," he said with a wink. Before Hayley could reply, the train whistle blew. "We're almost there," Iris said excitedly, peeking out of the window. Time skip boats to Hogwarts. The night air was cool as the first years stepped off the train, steam curling around their feet like restless ghosts. Hayley clutched her cloak tightly and looked around in wonder. Owls hooted, lanterns bobbed, and voices filled the dark platform. Furs years over here." The booming call came from a giant of a man holding a lantern high. His wild beard gleamed gold in the light, and his smile was warm despite his enormous size. Hayley blinked. "He's huge," she whispered to a nearby girl clutching a cat. "Think he's a professor," the murmured back. "Name Hagrid," the man said, overhearing them easily. "Keeper of keys and grounds at Hogwarts. Follow me, no dawdlin'." Behind them, a familiar voice rang out. "See you inside, Hayley," James called, waving from a group of older students. Sirius stood beside him, already grinning like he owned the place. "Don't fall in the lake, Potter Jr.," Sirius yelled. Remus gave a quiet laugh, elbowing him, while Peter tried and failed to look brave. Lily rolled her eyes but offered Hayley a kind smile. "Ignore him. He's an idiot most of the time." Iris laughs at that as Hayley grinned. "Thanks." "Boats this way," Hagrid bellowed again. "No more'n 4 to a boat." Hayley ended up sharing with Iris Evans, Lily's younger sister and her new friend, along with 2 other nervous first-years. The boats rocked gently as they climbed in. "Everyone ready," Hagrid called from his own larger boat. "Right then, forward." The boats glided on their own across the inky water. The reflection of the moon rippled beneath them, and ahead, rising out of the mist, stood the castle. Hogwarts. Iris whispered to Hayley, "It's beautiful." Hayley smiled softly. "Yeah, it really is." They slipped under an ivy curtain and into a hidden cavern, the boats bumping gently against stone steps. Hagrid jumped out, water splashing around his boots. "Mind your step," he said cheerfully as the first-years followed him up a winding path toward the looming oak doors of Hogwarts. Time skip outside of Hogwarts. The great doors creaked open, revealing a tall woman in emerald robes and a pointed hat waiting for them. "Welcome to Hogwarts," she said briskly. "I am Professor McGonagall. In a few moments you will be sorted into your houses. They are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Your houses will be your family while you are here." Hayley felt Iris shift nervously beside her. The professor's tone was firm, but there was a glimmer of kindness behind it. McGonagall continued, "When your name is called, you will step forward, sit on the stool, and try on the sorting hat. It will decide your house." She looked over them once more. "Now follow me." They followed her into the great hall, and Hayley's breath caught in her throat. Thousands of floating candles lit the vast room. The ceiling mirrored the night sky, and the 4 long tables stretched out beneath it, each filled with whispering students in colored ties and robes. Hayley spotted James almost immediately at the Gryffindor table, Sirius beside him, both waving wildly. Remus gave her and Iris an encouraging smile, and Peter clapped excitedly. Lily waved, mouthing to them both. "You'll do great." Iris nudged Hayley. "What if it doesn't want me?" she whispered. Hayley bit her lip. "Then we'll start our own house, the brave and terrifieds." Iris giggled, and the tension broke. Time skip, sorting hat ceremony. At the front of the hall stood a small stool with a ragged old hat resting on it. Suddenly, the hat twitched, then spoke. "Oh, another year, another feast. Let's see what courage, cunning, heart, and wit await me tonight." Gasps and laughter rippled through the crowd. One by one, names were called. The hall filled with cheers as each student was placed. When Iris's name was read, she stepped forward bravely despite the trembling of her hands. The hat slipped over her curls, paused, then shouted, "Gryffindor." Lily leapt up, cheering loud enough for both sisters. Iris's face glowed with pride as she hurried to join her at the Gryffindor table. Then came the name that made Hayley's stomach flip. Potter Hayley. Whispers darted through the hall, but Hayley notices a second-year Slytherin going quiet. She notices he has long black hair, but she doesn't know he's the victim of James's bullying, but stays quiet before she walked over to the stool and sat down. The hat sliding down over her eyes. The world fell away until only the hat's quiet voice filled her ears. Another Potter are you? Bravery, yes, but also kindness and a clever spark. A good heart, this one." Hayley whispered in her head, "Please, not far from James." The hat chuckled. "Oh, you Potters, always wanting to look out for one another. Very well then, better be. Gryffindor." The table exploded with cheers. James stood on his seat, clapping wildly. "Knew it," he shouted. "Didn't doubt for a second." Sirius whooped. "Welcome to the best house there is." Remus smiled warmly. "Congratulations, Hayley." Peter clapped until his hands went red. "You did it." Hayley ran to the table, grinning from ear to ear. Iris hugged her first, followed by Lily. James ruffled her hair, pride glowing in his eyes. "Told you, kiddo, it's in the blood." Hayley looked around at the enchanted ceiling, the flickering candles, the banners fluttering red and gold. For the first time, she felt it completely. She was home. Chapter 6, The Feast. Time skipped the welcome feast. Hayley could hardly sit still. The moment the last first year was sorted, the golden plates before them shimmered, and then with a soft whoosh they filled themselves. Roast chicken, shepherd's pie, steaming bowls of mashed potatoes, golden rolls, corn on the cob treacle tart, pumpkin pasties, the table practically glowed with food. Hayley's jaw dropped. It just appeared. Sirius grinned proudly. First Hogwarts miracle of the year. Second, Remus corrected. The first being you managing not to set the boats on fire. Hey, Sirius laughed. That was one time. James chuckled, leaning towards his sister. Eat up, Hales, trust me, you'll need your energy here. Hayley's plate was already full. She didn't remember reaching for anything. Is it always like this? Every feast, James said between mouthfuls. You'll never want to eat Mum's cooking again. I heard that, Hayley teased, elbowing him lightly. Across the table, Iris was chatting excitedly to Lily about the sorting hat. It talked to me. I thought I imagined it, but it said I had the heart of a lion. Lily smiled fondly. That sounds about right. Heart of a lion and appetite of one too, Sirius added as Iris reached for a third roll. Iris rolled her eyes. You're one to talk. A laugh rose from the next seat over, and Hayley turned to see two older girls joining the Gryffindor table, both in second years. One had wavy blonde hair and a mischievous twinkle in her green eyes, Marlene McKinnon. The other, a dark-haired girl with sharp brown eyes and a sliver-trimmed tie, lingered just beyond the table, Dorcas Meadows, wearing Slytherin clothes. Lily Evans, Marlene called playfully, sitting across from her. You ran off the train without saying hello. I was starting to think you'd forgotten me. Lily laughed. As if I could forget you. Marlene, this is my sister, Iris, and this, she motioned towards Hayley, is Hayley Potter, James's little sister. Marlene's grin widened. The famous Potter sibling that James couldn't stop talking about. It's nice to meet you, Hayley. Hayley smiled shyly. You too. A low voice chimed in behind her. And I'm Dorcas. Hayley turned. Dorcas stood with her hands clasped, expression cool but not unkind. Her emerald eyes flickered between Lily and the Potters. Lily's smile softened. Dorcas is one of my friends too, though she insists on staying in Slytherin where all the drama lives. Dorcas smirked. Someone has to keep an eye on the chaos from afar. She looked down at Hayley. You've got that same spark your brother has. Gryffindor suits you. Hayley blinked, surprised. You think so? Dorcas shrugged lightly, the corner of her mouth curling up. Let's just say you Potters don't exactly blend into the background. Especially not this one, Sirius piped up with a grin, earning himself a sharp jab from James. Lily rolled her eyes. Ignore them. They're unbearable once the food arrives. Unbearable, Sirius gasps dramatically. We're delightful. Remus raised an eyebrow. Define delightful. Sirius pretended to think, tapping his chin. Handsome, funny, charming. And completely insufferable, Marlene cuts in smoothly. Don't forget that one. The table erupted in laughter. Hayley, for the first time that night, felt the knot in her stomach completely disappear. She leaned back, taking in the glow of candles and the warmth of everyone around her. McGonagall passed by, her eyes softening slightly when she caught sight of the smiling first-year Potter between her brother and Lily Evans. Dumbledore rose from his seat a due moment later, his voice carrying easily across the hall. Welcome to another year at Hogwarts, he said, eyes twinkling. And for our first years, may this castle be your home, your heart, and your adventure. Hayley's chest swelled with pride as she looked toward the head table, then back to James and her new friends. Feels like an adventure already, she whispered. James grinned, nudging her shoulder. That's because it is, little sis. And as the hall filled with laughter, clinking goblets, and the rustle of owls swooping overhead, Hayley knew it. Her story at Hogwarts had just begun. Chapter 7, Common Room. Time skip the Great Hall. The Great Hall buzzed with chatter as the feast came to an end. Plates cleared themselves, candles dimmed to a warm glow, and Professor Dumbledore's voice rose once more. Prefects, please lead your houses to the dormitories. And remember, the Forbidden Forest is, as its name suggests, strictly forbidden. Students began to file out, laughter echoing against the stone walls. Hayley followed James and the Gryffindor toward the doors, Iris right beside her, still smiling from the feast. That treacle was amazing, Iris said dreamily. If I eat like that every night, I'll need a bigger robe by Christmas. Trust me, Hayley grinned. You'll be running up and down the moving staircases enough to burn it off. They joined the flow of students moving toward the staircase, when suddenly bump. Iris collided with someone rounding the corner. The impact sent her wobbling back a step. Oh, I'm so sorry. A tall, pale boy with sleek blonde hair straightens his robes with slow irritation. Well, he said coolly, brushing an invisible speck off his sleeve. That's one way to make an introduction. Hayley blinked. The boy is much older than her and her brother James, but he carried himself like he owned the corridor. His Slytherin badge gleamed under the torchlight. I said I was sorry, Iris replied, trying to sound polite. Lucius smirked. Oh, I'm sure you didn't, the boy interrupted with a drawl. But perhaps next time you could watch where you're going, little first year. Some of us have places to be that don't involve being trampled by clumsy Gryffindor. Hayley frowned, stepping forward protectively. Hey, she said she was sorry. Maybe you could stop acting like she ruined your life. The boy's cool green eyes flicked towards her. A smirk tugged at his lips. Well, another Potter, of course. He gave a dramatic sigh, as if the universe itself were conspiring against him. Is there any corridor in this castle I can walk down without bumping into one of you? Hayley crossed her arms. Not if you keep standing in everyone's way. His smirk widened. Careful, Potter. That attitude might work on your older brother, but I don't find it nearly as charming. Before Hayley could respond, a new voice cut sharply through the corridor. Back off, Malfoy. Lucius' smirk faltered slightly as he turned. A tall, red-haired Gryffindor Gideon Prowett was leaning casually against the wall, his arms folded. His prefect badge gleamed on his robes, and though he looked relaxed, there was steel in his eyes. Picking on first years now, Gideon continued, his voice calm but laced with challenge. What's next, scaring the house elves for fun? Lucius's expression hardened. Just teaching them manners, Pruitt. Someone must. The nearby Gryffindors murmured, and even a couple of Ravenclaws slowed to watch. Lucius's jaw flexed, but his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. You really should choose your battles more wisely, Lucius said in a low voice. One day, that mouth of yours will get you into trouble. Maybe, Gideon said lightly, but at least I won't spend my life hiding behind my father's name. A ripple of laughter spread through the corridor. Lucius's pale face flushed slightly. He glared at Gideon for a heartbeat longer before brushing past with a sharp sweep of his robes. Enjoy your little victory, Prowett, he muttered. You Gryffindors never know when you've gone too far. Gideon watched him disappear down the hall, then turned back to Hayley and Iris with an easy smile. You all right? Iris nodded, still pink. Yes, thank you. Don't worry about him, Gideon said, waving a hand. Malfoy's bark is worse than his bite. Thinks he owns the castle because his dad donates half the silverware. Hayley smiled shyly. Thanks for stepping in. Gideon winked. All in a day's work. Welcome to Hogwarts, by the way. Try not to make a habit of running into Slytherins, they bruise easily. The corridor erupted in quiet laughter. Gideon gave them a mock salute before heading off toward the older students. James, Sirius, Remus, and Peter appeared just in time to catch the tail end of it. What we miss? Sirius asked, slightly out of breath. Just Malfoy being Malfoy, Hayley said, rolling her eyes. James smirked. Well, at least someone shut him up for once. Time skip, Gryffindor Tower. The Gryffindor prefects gathered the first years and led them up the twisting staircases. The torches flickered brighter as they climbed, the air full of whispers and portraits muttering among themselves. "Keep close," one prefect warned. The staircase liked to change direction without warning. As if to prove it, the steps beneath them groaned and swung sideways. Iris squeaked, grabbing Hayley's sleeve. "Brilliant," Hayley laughed nervously. "Haunted furniture." Finally, they stopped before a large portrait of a plump woman in a pink gown. "Password?" she asked cheerfully. "Caput Draconis," the prefect replied. The portrait swung open to reveal a warm, round common room lit by cracking fire. Red and gold banners fluttered gently on the walls, armchairs clustered around the hearth, and the scent of wood smoke and toffee filled the air. "Welcome, Gryffindor Tower," the prefect said proudly. "Girls' dorms to the right, boys to the left." Hayley turned slowly, eyes shining. Sirius was already sprawled on a sofa, Marlene perched nearby laughing at him. James sat beside him grinning, clearly in the middle of recounting some mischief last term. Remus, ever the quiet one, stood near the fire, smiling softly at the sight of the new first-years taking it all in. Across the room, Lily knelt beside her younger sister, showing Iris where the girls' staircase began. Her voice was calm, patient, but her expression stiffened slightly when her eyes flicked towards James. She quickly looked away, turning her attention back to Iris with a small, encouraging smile. From the doorway, Dorcas Lily's Slytherin friend appeared for a moment, her arms crossed loosely. She caught Lily's gaze, gave her a knowing nod, then disappeared down the corridor towards the dungeons. Hayley breathed in and out slowly, warmth blooming in her chest as she looked around the common room. The cracking fire, the chatter, the laughter, it all felt alive, welcoming, and full of promise. For the first time, she thought, this is where I belong. Time skip bedroom. Later that night, the first-years settled into bed. Hayley sat cross-legged under her blankets, her new wand resting beside her pillow. Iris brushed her hair, humming "A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes" by E and Cinderella by the firelight. "Can you believe we're really here?" Iris whispered. Hayley smiled. "After the day we've had, yeah, Hogwarts is already full of surprise." "Even the rude ones," Iris muttered, and they both giggled. A soft knock came at the door. James peeked in, looking tired but happy. "Just checking you two survived your first night." "Barely," Hayley said with a grin. "But we made a new friend, Gideon Prowett scared off Malfoy." James chuckled. "Good old Gideon. He's got a mean right hook and zero patience for Slytherin nonsense." "Sounds like someone I know," Hayley teased. James smirked. "Runs in the family." He ruffled her hair gently. "Sleep well, Hales. Tomorrow the real Hogwarts begins." When the door closed, Hayley lay back, the firelight fatting into a soft golden glow. Her eyelids grew heavy, but her smile lingered. From the boats to the feast, from Lucius's sneer to Gideon's grin, her first night had been full of magic and courage. And somehow, Hayley knew this was only the beginning. Chapter 8, First Classes. Time skip, next morning. Morning sunlight spilled through the tall, arched windows of Griffin Tower, painting the dormitory walls gold. Hayley blinked awake to the soft rustle of curtains and the sound of Iris humming as she brushed her hair. "Morning," Hayley mumbled sleepily, sitting up and pushing her tangled hair out of her face. "Morning," Iris chirped, far too cheerful for the early hour. "I think the castle's singing." Hayley paused, then realized faint voices were drifting through the stone's walls, portraits chatting, pips humming faintly. Hogwarts was waking up, alive in its own strange way. "This place is insane," Hayley muttered, but she was grinning. The two girls dressed quickly in their uniforms, the Gryffindor crest gleaming proudly on their robes. Hayley still couldn't get used to the idea that she belonged here, that she was part of something magical. When they reached the common room, the fire was burning low. A few sleepy Gryffindor were already heading down for breakfast. Marlene McKinnon gave a friendly wave as she passed, and Sirius called out from the stairs, hair sticking out in every direction. "Morning, newbies. Hope you're ready for a day of complete confusion." Hayley smirked. "You mean classes?" No, Sirius said seriously. I mean the staircases. They've already moved twice since I woke up. Remus chuckled quietly behind him, holding his books. Ignore him. The castle only messes with people who brag. Sirius blinked. That's weight, are you saying? Remus smiled faintly. Exactly. Hayley laughed as she and Iris followed the stream of students down to breakfast. Time skip, the Great Hall. The Great Hall was even more dazzling in the morning light. The enchanted ceiling showed a pale sunrise spreading across a sky of soft pink and gold. The long tables were piled high with toast, eggs, sausages, steaming pitchers of pumpkin juice. Iris stopped dead in her tracks. It's so bright. And there's so much food, Hayley whispered, eyes wide. Do they even sleep here? James waved them over from halfway down the Gryffindor table, grinning. Oi, there you are. Survive your first night. Barely, Hayley said, plopping down beside him. The stairs tried to eat us. Sirius dropped into the seat across from them, already chewing on a croissant. Ah, yes, classic Hogwarts welcome. Remus took the spot beside him, flipping open a book. You're supposed to be welcoming, not terrifying. I can do both, Sirius replied with a wink. Iris giggled. Across the table, Marlene passed a plate of toast down to them. Eat up, she said. Flitwick doesn't go easy on hungry students. That caught Hayley's attention. We have charms first. Yup, James said through a mouthful of eggs. Professor Flitwick's great, tiny, squeaky, and a total genius. Then transfiguration after that, Remus added, looking up from his book. Try not to panic when McGonagall turns a desk into a cat. Iris blinked. She what? Sirius leaned forward dramatically. And the cat stares into your soul. Remus rolled his eyes. Ignore him, the cat's harmless, usually. James laughed. Don't worry, McGonagall only bites if you forget your homework. Time skip, charms class. Professor Flitwick's classroom was tucked high up in the castle, full of sunlight and fluttering papers. The tiny wizard stood on a stack of books to see over his desk, beaming at his new students. Welcome, welcome, he squeaked in delight. Ah, a fresh batch of first years, how exciting. Today we begin with something light, something fun, and if you're not careful, something that may very well float out of control. A ripple of nervous laughter went around the class. Hayley and Iris exchanged a grin. Hayley's heart pounded against her ribs as she reached for her wand, the same one Ollivander had said was full of promises and mischief. Now then, Flitwick said, pulling a large quill feather from thin air. The spell is Wingardium Leviosa. It means to lift. Perfect for when you can't reach the biscuits on the top shelf. A few students giggled. He flicked his wand gracefully. Wingardium Leviosa. The feather on his desk rose smoothly into the air and began twirling like a dancer. The class gasps in delight. Your turn, Flitwick declared, eyes twinkling. Remember, the swish and flick is the key, and say it clearly. The room instantly filled with the murmur of eager voices. Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa. Feathers jerked, twitched, or burst into sparks. Someone's quill shot across the room and hit the window with a thud. Another student's feather spun wildly before plopping into a jar of ink. Iris's feather lifted an inch, wobbled, and then caught fire. She squealed and dropped her wand as Flitwick hurried over, extinguishing it with a quick charm. Not to worry, Miss Evans, he said cheerfully, vanishing the scorch mark with a tap. Very enthusiastic, Wingardium Leviosa. The feather trembled, then shot upward so fast it zipped straight through the open doorway. Oi, came a familiar voice. Hayley gasped as Sirius appeared in the doorway, a feather now firmly tangled in his hair. He froze, blinking, before pulling it out dramatically. Who's attacking me with fluff? He asked, pretending to be offended. Sorry, Hayley said, covering her mouth to stifle a giggle. It wasn't supposed to fly at you. Flitwick nearly fell off his book stack laughing. Excellent control, Miss Potter, though I recommend aiming at the ceiling, not your classmates. By the end of the lesson, the classroom looked like a pillow explosion. A few feathers hovered lazily near the rafters, refusing to come down. Iris managed to lift hers, crookedly, while Hayley could now make her drift in lazy circles without losing control. When the bell finally chimed, Flitwick beamed. "Wonderful first attempts, everyone. Practice tonight, and next week we'll move on to objects heavier than feathers. Perhaps teacups." As the class packed up, Iris leaned over, cheeks flushed. "I think I love charms." Hayley grinned. "Same, and next time I'm aiming for serious again." Time skip, Transfiguration class. After lunch, the first years filed nervously into the Transfiguration classroom. The room was neat and orderly, perfect lined desks, spotless blackboard, and a faint smell of chalk and polished wood. A single cat sat on the professor's desk, tail flickering in time with the ticking clock. Hayley and Iris slid into seats beside each other. "Do you think the cat's hers?" Iris whispered. Hayley shrugged. "Probably she looks like a cat person." Before they could whisper further, the cat leapt gracefully from the desk and morphed midair into Professor McGonagall herself. Gasps filled the room. Iris let out a startled squeak loud enough to echo. 10 points to Gryffindor, McGonagall said dryly. "For enthusiasm." The class erupted into nervous laughter. "Transfiguration," she began crisply, packing in front of desks, "is one of the most complicated branches of magic you will study. It requires patience, focus, and absolute precision. Anyone who feels tempted to experiment without supervision may find themselves spending the rest of term as a teacup." The laughter died instantly. "Let us begin." The room filled with murmurs. Wands waved. A few matchsticks cracked in half. One turned plaid. Another turned into what might have been a caterpillar. Hayley bit her lip, repeating the motion carefully. "Coloro mutare." Her matchstick shimmered faintly, then changed from dull brown to a bright, cheerful pink. She gasped. "I did it." Iris cheered softly beside her. "Yours is gorgeous, mine just... oh no." Hayley turned. Iris's matchstick had sprouted tiny whiskers and was twitching on the desk like a mouse. McGonagall appeared beside them without a sound, raising one eyebrow. "Fascinating interpretation, Miss Evans. Perhaps less imagination next time." The class giggled as she waved her wand, returning the matchstick to normal. 5 points to Gryffindor for creativity," she added with the faintest hint of a smile. The next half hour was spent perfecting their spells. McGonagall moved among desks, occasionally pausing to correct a student's wrist angle or pronunciation. Hayley found herself lost in concentration. Her second matchstick now turned a shimmering gold. Iris's kept twitching but no longer had whiskers, which she declared progress. When the bell finally rang, McGonagall addressed them one last time. "Transfiguration is not about force," she said. "It's about control. Remember that and you'll go far." As they packed up, she glanced at Hayley. "Well done, Miss Potter. It seems talent runs in the family. Let us hope you use it more wisely than your brother." Hayley's eyes widened. "Yes, Professor." Outside in the corridor, Iris laughed so hard she nearly dropped her books. "Did she just roast your brother?" Hayley grinned. "Oh, absolutely, and I think it was the best part of the class." Time skip hallway. Transfiguration had just ended, and the first years walks out of the classroom, but as everyone is leaving, McGonagall calls out. "Homework is 12 inches of parchment on the properties of matchstick-to-needle transformations. And no, Mr. Black, you may not test the theory on your ink bottle." Sirius grinned, innocently, as McGonagall gave him a sharp look over her spectacles. Hayley and Iris gathered their books and quills, giggling softly as they followed the line of students spilling into the corridor. The hallway was quieter, filled with the faint hum of magic and the distant echo of hundreds of footsteps across the castle. "Transfigurations is amazing," Iris whispered. "I still can't believe she just turned into a cat." Hayley smiled, tucking a quill behind her ear. "I know, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I nearly screamed." Marlene, walking a few steps ahead, laughed over her shoulder. "Oh, that's nothing. Last year she turned Mulciber's bag into a pig because he wouldn't stop talking." Iris blinked. "You're joking." Marlene smirked. Nope, oinked for a week. They were halfway down the corridor when a strange cackling sound echoed from above, sharp and gleeful, like laughter made of wind and mischief. Hayley frowned. What was that? Oh no, Marlene groaned. Not him again. Before anyone could ask, a piece of chalk came whizzing out of nowhere, exploding against the wall in a puff of pink dust. The first years shrieked and ducked as more bits of chalk and paper planes zipped through the air like tiny fireworks. Boo! The shout came from directly above them. A figure floated upside down near the vaulted ceiling, his jester's cap jingling as he grinned. He was translucent, ghostly but solid enough to make a face, and what a face it was. Peeves, Marlene muttered darkly. The poltergeist cackled, somersaulting through the air. First years, fresh and squeaky new, let's see what kind of trouble you can do. Hayley instinctively grabbed Iris's arm as a paper plane swooped low and stuck itself to her forehead. Written across it in loppy handwriting were the words, "Welcome, little lions, beware the halls of Peeves." Iris squealed, pulling it off. He writes notes. He writes warnings, Marlene corrected grimly. Ignore him and keep walking. But Peeves wasn't done. With a dramatic bow in midair, he waved his ghostly hand, sending chalk and parchment swirling in a little storm around the girls. Marching off to lunch, are we? No time for fun. Tut, 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 where's your school's spirit? Peeves, came a sharp, authoritative voice. The air went still. Professor McGonagall had stepped into the corridor, her arms crossed and eyes narrowed dangerously. Peeves froze for half a heartbeat. Then his grin returned. Ah, Professor Perfect Paws herself. Fancy seeing you out of the litter box. Several students gasped. McGonagall's expression didn't change, though her jaw tightened slightly. Peeves, she said coldly, I would strongly advise you not to test my patience today. Oh, but Professor, he cooed, floating lower. You love me, really. Brightens up your dull corridors, don't I? Last warning, she said sharply. Peeves rolled his eyes in exaggerated fashion, flipped right side up, and gave a mock salute. As you wish, your sternness, but I'll be back for your darlings later. He snapped his fingers, and every single piece of chalk hovering midair exploded in a burst of pink dust, showering the first years from head to toe. Then, with a loud cackle, Peeves zoomed straight through the ceiling and vanished. The corridor fell silent except for the sound of coughing and giggling. Iris sneezed, leaving a faint cloud of pink powder around her. McGonagall sighed, rubbing her temple. Honestly. Then she waved her wand, and the dust lifted off the students in a shimmer of gold. There, better, now off to lunch before he decides to redecorate again. The students hurried off, still laughing. Marlene shook her head. You're officially baptized, she said to Hayley and Iris. Covered in Peeves's pink powder, that's how you know you're a real Hogwarts student now. Hayley smiled as they turned a corner, brushing glitter from her robe. I guess that's normal here. Marlene grinned. Completely. End of the day. That evening, the Gryffindor common room glowed with a warm, golden light. The fire crackled cheerfully, painting the room in soft shades of red and gold. A few upper years reenacting the Peeves incident with over-the-top dramatics. Iris stood in front of the hearth, waving her arms. He was right above us, upside down like a bat. Sirius, lounging on the rug, pretended to fall over laughing. Oh, he got a flair for the dramatic. You'll love him by Christmas, or hate him by next week. Remus smirked. Probably both. Marlene flopped into an armchair. He called McGonagall Professor Perfect Paws again. She nearly turned him into a mop. James laughed. I'd pay to see that. Hayley sat nearby, curled in one of the big red armchairs, a mug of hot cocoa in her hands. She couldn't stop smiling. Every moment today had felt wild, unpredictable, and full of wonder. She pulled her small, leather-bound journal from her bag and began to write for her parents, her neat handwriting glowing in the firelight. Day 1, survived my first class, did real magic, got covered in pink dust, met a poltergeist, Hogwarts is completely mad. And perfect. James passed by on his way upstairs and ruffled her hair affectionately. "Good first day, Hales." "The best," she said honestly, smiling at him. As the firelight danced the castle whispered softly beyond the tower walls, Hayley felt it again, that quiet, overwhelming certainty that she belonged. Madness, magic, and mischief included. Chapter 9, the first weekend at Hogwarts. Time skip, Saturday. The first Saturday morning at Hogwarts dawned bright and crisp. Sunlight streamed through the tower windows, glinting off the lake in the distance. Hayley woke to the smell of toast and the faint sound of laughter drifting up from the common room below. "I can't believe we've only been here 5 days," Iris said sleepily, rubbing her eyes. "Feels like 5 weeks," Hayley mumbled, stretching. "In the best way." By mid-morning, most of Gryffindor Tower was buzzing. Older students headed down to Hogsmeade permission meetings. The younger ones lingered near the fire or planned trips to the library. Hayley notices Lily next to a Slytherin boy who looks nervous, Severus Snape. Hayley slowed her steps instinctively. She'd heard James mention him, mostly in laughter. She thought he was friends with him, but she'd never actually seen him before. There was something strange about the way Lily was looking at him, frustrated but gentle, like she was trying to reason with someone who'd already decided not to listen. "Come on, Save," Lily said softly, her voice carrying just enough for Hayley to catch. "You don't have to keep defending them. They don't care about you." "They're my housemates, Lily," Severus replied stiffly. "I can't just ignore them." "I'm not saying you should ignore them," she said, her tone tightening. "But you don't have to be like them either." A long silence stretched between them. Snape's dark eyes flicked away, then back at her. "You wouldn't understand." "I understand more than you think," Lily said quietly, her jaw tightening. "You just don't like hearing it." Before he could respond, a group of Gryffindors passed through, laughing, and Lily glanced toward them, where James was sitting at the far end with Sirius and Remus, pretending not to notice her. Lily's voice softened. "I'll see you later, Save." Snape nodded curtly, muttered something Hayley couldn't hear, and slipped into the library. Hayley blinked, caught between curiosity and confusion. She glanced towards Iris, who had also stopped to watch. "Who was that?" Iris whispered. "Severus Snape," Marlene said quietly from behind them. She had seen too. "Second year, same as your brother Little Ember and your sister Dreamer." Iris frowned slightly. They seemed tense. Marlene nodded. "They used to be best friends. It's complicated now." Hayley's eyes flickered toward James. He was pretending to be very interested in something Sirius was saying, but there was a shadow of guilt in his expression, just for a second. "Come on," Marlene said gently. "It's the weekend. Let's get some breakfast before Filch bans us for existing." Iris nodded, but Hayley lingered for a moment longer, her gaze drifting back to the now empty window. She didn't know what exactly was going on between her brother's friends, but she had a feeling it was something that would only get messier with time. Finally, she turned and followed Iris out into the hall, the sound of laughter and chatter filling the air again. Time skip, exploring the castle. The castle corridors were alive suits of armor humming to themselves, staircases swinging lazily from one landing to another, portraits whispering gossip. Hayley traced her hand along the cool stone wall. "It's like the castle's watching us." Iris laughed. "It is. That portrait just winked at you." They turned a corner and nearly tripped over Mrs. Norris. The cat's glowing eyes narrowed suspiciously, tail twitching. Marlene muttered, appearing from behind a tapestry. "Careful. If she sees you breathing too loudly, Filch will appear." Sure enough, the caretaker's gravelly voice echoed down the corridor. "Norris, what are you doing over there? Students shouldn't be wandering." "Oh." His eyes landed on them, small and beady. "First years." Hayley straightened her robes. "We were, exploring." Filch squinted. "Exploring, were you? That's what they all say before I find them dangling from the chandeliers. Stay out of trouble." He shuffled away, muttering darkly about muddy footprints and confounded staircases. When he's gone, Iris burst into giggles. Was he serious about the chandeliers? Marlene grinned. Probably Peeves hangs people from them all the time. Time skip Monday potions class. On Monday, the dungeon corridors were kahl and dimly lit by flickering torches. The smell of herbs, smoke, and something vaguely sweet lingered in the air. "Welcome, welcome," Professor Horace Slughorn boomed as the class filled in. His plump face beamed with delight, and his silvery mustache twitched as he spoke. "Ah, new faces, my favorite part of the year." He clapped his hands together, rings glittering. "Now then, I am Professor Slughorn, head of Slytherin House and master of potions. You are here to learn the subtle science and exact art of potion making." Hayley leaned forward in fascination as he gestured grandly to the cauldrons bubbling on each table. "For our first lesson, we'll attempt something simple but elegant, the cure of boil. An essential start, and one that won't blow up the classroom. Hopefully." The class chuckled nervously. Slughorn's eyes twinkled as he passed their table. "Ah, Miss Potter. Related to young James, I presume." Hayley nodded. "Yes, sir, he's my brother." "Excellent boy, that one cheeky but clever. And you must be Evans, my dear," he said, looking at Iris. "Yes, sir," Iris said brightly. "Evans, 2 sisters this year, marvelous. I do so love family legacies." He turned to the class. "Begin." Soon, the dungeon filled with the soft clinking of vials and the gentle bubbling of cauldrons. Hayley carefully measured snake fangs while Iris stirred clockwise, counting under her breath. Nearby, a Hufflepuff's potion turned an alarming shade of green and began hissing. "Counterclockwise, my boy, counterclockwise," Slughorn called, waving his wand to contain the spill. Hayley leaned over her cauldron. The potion shimmered from violet to sky blue. "I think it's working." Iris frowned at hers. "Mine smells like old socks." Hayley giggled. "Maybe it's just you." "Miss Potter, Miss Evans," Slughorn said as he passed, peering into their cauldrons. "Ah, splendid color, Miss Potter. 10 points to Gryffindor. And Miss Evans," he sniffed. We'll call it experimental. 5 points for effort." By the end of the hour, Slughorn had invited a few promising students, including Hayley and Marlene, to join his little supper club once they were older. As the class packed up, Iris whispered, "He's strange, but in a fun uncle way." Hayley laughed. "Yeah, the kind who accidentally sets the table on fire." Time skip Defense Against the Dark Arts. Their next new class was Defense Against the Dark Arts, taught by Professor Silas Kettleburn, a wiry, one-armed wizard with wild gray hair, patched robes, and a constant look of excitement. The classroom looked more like a zoo than a study hall. Cages, tanks, and strange wooden boxes lined the walls, each emitting noises that could only be described as questionable. "Welcome, my young defenders," he shouted cheerfully, waving his wand, or rather, his wand hand, which was a polished wooden prosthetic that occasionally sparked. "Today, we'll be studying pixies, fascinating creatures. Never underestimate a pixie's sense of humor or destruction." The class eyed the large covered cage on his desk nervously. "Now they're Cornish, they're blue, and they're prone to chaos. I want each of you to observe their behavior." He whipped off the cover. Instantly, 20 bright blue pixies shot into the air, screeching gleefully. They zoomed across the room, tugging hair, snatching quills, and turning over ink pots. "Catch them, my brave Gryffindors," Kettleburn roared, positively delighted. "A hands-on learning experience." "Hands-on, they're everywhere," Iris shouted, ducking as a pixie yanked at her ponytail. Hayley swung her wand. "Petrificus totalis." The spell missed the pixie and hit a chair instead, freezing it mid-wobble. Sirius was laughing so hard he could barely breathe. "Brilliant shot, Potter." "Don't encourage her," Remus called, trying to coax a pixie out of his bag. Finally, Kettleburn clapped his hands, sending a wave of blue light through the room. The pixie froze mid-flight and dropped harmlessly into a net. "Excellent enthusiasm," he said proudly, as if the entire disaster had been part of the plan. 15 points to Gryffindor for participation, and 5 to Slytherin for surviving. When the bell rang, the class stumbled out, covered in ink, feathers, and laughter. Iris ran a hand through her tangled hair. That was terrifying. Hayley grinned. That was amazing. Remus chucked. You two are definitely Gryffindors. Why? Hayley asked. Because you thought chaos was fun. Time skip, evening in the common room. That night, the fire roared in the hearth while rain pattered softly against the windows. The air filled with chatter. Marlene helping Iris with her potions essay, Sirius humming a tune off-key, and James sketching something that suspiciously resembled McGonagall turning into a cat. Hayley wrote in her diary for her parents again. Week 1 explored secret corridors. Survived Filch and Mrs. Norris, made a potion that didn't explode. Met pixies, Hogwarts is full of chaos, and I love it. She closed her journal and looked around at the glowing common room, her home. Tomorrow would bring new classes, new chaos, and probably more pink dust from Peeves, and Hayley couldn't wait. Chapter 10, Quidditch. Time skip, morning. The morning of the first Quidditch match dawned bright and sharp, the October air crisp with promise of cold winds and excitement. The entire Gryffindor tower buzzed like a kicked beehive. Hayley woke to the sound of frantic footsteps, distant shouts, and Sirius yelling from downstairs. James, if you don't eat something, I'm telling MCGONAGLL you cried when you got your broom. Hayley snorted into her pillow. Across the room, Iris sat up, hair sticking out in every direction. Is it time? Hayley nodded. It's time. The Gryffindors gathered in the common room, all wearing red and gold scarves. Some of the older girls, including Marlene, had painted G.O. Potter in glittery letters on their cheekbones. Sirius had gone a step further. He had smeared red stripes across his face like he was going to war. Remus, already at the portrait hole, held a stack of blankets. Come on, best seats are up top. As the group poured out of the tower, Hayley spotted James at the bottom of the stairs, already dressed in his crimson Quidditch robes, brooms slung over his shoulder. His hair was an absolute disaster, and he was packing like a frantic chicken. Lily walked by with Iris, not even glancing at him. James pretended not to care. Good luck, James, Hayley called. He froze, then broke into a wide grin. Thanks, Hales. Sirius clapped him on the back. Don't die. That's the plan, James said cheerfully. Time skip, the stadium. The Quidditch pitch loomed massive and magnificent against the bright sky. Towering spectator stands rose high on all sides, flags flapping wildly in the chilly breeze. The Gryffindor banner streaked the air with and gold, while far across the pitch, Slytherin green shimmered like a venomous snake. Hayley gasped as they climbed the stands. It's huge. It's insane, Iris whispered, clutching her scarf. Sirius puffed his chest. Wait till you see James fly. He's brilliant. Terrifying, Remus corrected politely. Brilliantly terrifying, Sirius amended. Students filled the seats in chattering clusters, waving banners and rattling homemade noisemakers. Above them, a flock of owls swooped over the stands, scattering stray feathers. The players strode onto the pitch, Gryffindor robes blazing red, Slytherin shining green. James mounted his broom with practiced ease, eyes gleaming with excitement. Hayley and Iris cheered so loudly their voice cracked. Time skip, let the match begin. Madame Hooch blew her whistle, the balls shot into the sky, and the chaos began. The bludgers whooshed past the stands with frightening speed. The quaffle soared across the field in a flash of scarlet and emerald. The Gryffindor chasers passed with dazzling precision. But Hayley's eyes never left James. As a chaser intercepted the quaffle and hurled it upward, James soared higher, until he seemed almost to skin the clouds. He tilted his broom sideways, slipped past a Slytherin beater, then dove straight down, broom angled like a spear. Iris screamed, He's going to die. Nope, Remus said calmly. This is normal. James pulled up at the last second, snatching the quaffle in clean, breathtaking move. The Gryffindor stands exploded with cheers. That's MY brother. Hayley yelled, jumping up and down. Even Lily looked up from her seat in the row below, not cheering, but with a tiny flicker of reluctant admiration. Time skip, the tension build. The match raged on. Slytherin scored once, Gryffindor scored twice. Then the Slytherin beaters started targeting James relentlessly. A bludger shot toward him, he ducked. Another came from the right, Sirius screamed from the stands, "Watch your left, you absolute idiot." James spun in midair and narrowly avoided it. "That's illegal," Iris shouted, outraged. "That's Slytherin," Marlene corrected. James wasn't rattled. He sped up, weaving through the players with reckless skill, flipping his broom around a goalpost as though gravity simply didn't apply to him. "Come Owen, Potter," students roared. Even Hayley had to grab the railing because her knees had gone weak. "That's my brother," she whispered, equal parts terrified and proud. Time skip, the game-changing play. Suddenly, James darted forward. The quaffle was plummeting toward the pitch. A Slytherin chaser dove for it. James accelerated, wind whipping his hair sideways, pushing his broom farther than it was clearly meant to go. He surged forward, dove, and grabbed the quaffle inches before it hit the ground. The crowd roared so loudly, Hayley felt the stands shake. But James wasn't done. Using the momentum of the dive, he spiraled upward, avoiding two bludgers with sheer instinct. Then, with a smooth, perfect arc, he hurled the quaffle straight through the center hoop. Madame Hooch's whistle pierced the air. "GRFFINDOR-SCORES." Hayley screamed until her throat ached. Iris jumped so violently the entire bench shook. Sirius grabbed Remus in a headlock and roared with victory. Even a few Ravenclaws near them clapped appreciatively. Across the pitch, Lily looked away quickly, cheeks slightly pink. Time skip, the end of the game. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the Gryffindor seeker dove, arm outstretched, and closed her hand around the fluttering snitch. The whistle blew. The stands erupted. GRFFINDOR wins. Scarves waved. Students hugged. Someone conjured fireworks that showered red sparks across the sky. Hayley nearly toppled over the railing from cheering so hard. Time skip, post-match chaos. The Gryffindors swarmed onto the pitch, surrounding James as he landed. He was flushed, sweaty and grinning so wide it looked like it hurt. Sirius crashed into him first. "You bloody legend." Marlene followed. "Thought you were dead at least 4 times. Remus laughed. "You probably should have been." James looked up as Hayley and Iris ran over. He wrapped an arm around his sister, lifting her off the ground in a spin. "Good match?" he asked breathlessly. Hayley laughed, breathless. "The best." "You scared us to death," Iris added. James shrugged proudly. "That's Quidditch." Time skip, night in common room. The celebration lasted hours. Firelight danced on the walls. Students sang. Someone brought snacks stolen from the kitchens. Sirius reenacted James's dive off the table until McGonagall showed up and nearly had a heart attack. Hayley curled up with a warm blanket beside the fire, watching her brother laughing with his friends. She felt a warm glow in her chest, pride, excitement, joy. She leaned toward Iris. "I get it now," she whispered. "Get what?" "Why James loves Quidditch so much." Iris smiled. "Because it's chaos." Hayley shook her head. "Because it's him." She paused, then added softly, "And I think I love it too." Chapter 11, Flying Class. Time skip, Hayley's first flying class. The morning of their first flying lesson was crisp and bright, the kind of cold that made your cheeks sting and your breath come out in pale clouds. Hayley had barely slept, excitement twisted in her stomach like a tiny golden snitch. Iris bounced beside her as they headed out across the grounds. Gryffindors and Slytherins gathering near the flat grassy pitch, where dozens of school brooms lay in neat lines. "There are, older than my grandmother," Iris whispered, eyeing the crooked sticks. "They probably are your grandmother," Sirius muttered as he walked past with Remus, heading toward their own class further down on the lawn. Remus gave the girls an encouraging smile. "You'll be great, just don't let the broom choose violence." "That happens?" Hayley asked, startled. Sirius yelled over his shoulders. "Yes." Before either girl could worry about it, a sharp whistle cut through the air. Madame Hooch strode across the field. Short, wiry, and intimidating in her gray cloak, her hawk-yellow eyes swept across the first years with the precision of someone who once played professionally. "Stand by a broom," she barked. Hayley and Iris exchanged a look, then stood beside two very wonky-looking brooms. Hayley's bristles were frayed, and its handle looked like it had been chewed by a hippogriff. Madame Hooch paced the line. "Welcome, first years," she said. "Today we will attempt basic flight, and I say attempt because these brooms are school property and therefore." She tapped one with the toe of her boot. The broom sputtered violently and rolled in the grass. "Temperamental." A ripple of nervous laughter passed through the line. "Time skip, flying class starts." Hayley placed her palm over her BR-ROM. "Up," she said firmly. The broom sprang straight into her hand so fast, she almost smacked herself in the face. "Whoa," she gasped. "Up," Iris repeated. The broom rolled away. "I said up," Iris snapped. It nudged her shoe half-heartedly. Madame Hooch paused beside her. "Perhaps don't yell at it unless you wish to be bucked off." Hayley stifled a laugh. Across the line, a Slytherin yelped as his broom leapt at his throat. Madame Hooch flicked her wand and the broom dropped harmlessly to the ground. "I said they were temperamental," she muttered. "Time skip, middle of class." Once the brooms were in hand, more or less, Madame Hooch instructed them to mount. "Grip the broom firmly. No leaning forward too early. No leaning back unless you enjoy falling on your head." Hayley swung her leg over, heart pounding. The grass beneath her seemed suddenly very far away, even though she wasn't moving yet. Iris did the same, more slowly, looking like she expected the broom to throw her across the pitch at any moment. Madame Hooch raised her whistle. "When I blow, you kick off, gently hover a foot or two, and then lower back down. If anyone so much as tilts dangerously, I pull you down myself. Understood?" Everyone nodded nervously. The whistle shrilled. Hayley kicked off gently, and her stomach swooped. She was hovering. The ground was a foot below her, the wind brushing through her hair. The broom held her steadily, as if it had been waiting for her. Hayley's mouth fell open. "Iris, I'm doing it." Iris let out a shriek as she wobbled upward on her broom. "I'm too high. I'm too high." "You're literally 9 inches off the ground," Hayley laughed. "I know," Iris squeaked, clutching the handle as if it were a lifeline. Madame Hooch's sharp voice cut through the chaos. "Keep your balance. No screaming unless something is on fire." A Slytherin girl promptly screamed because something was on fire. Her broom bristles had caught a spark, likely from friction or panic. Madame Hooch extinguished it with a flick of her wand. "Time skip, an unexpected glide." "Now slowly descend," Madame Hooch instructed. Hayley eased her broom down and felt a thrill run through her chest. She had done it. She had actually flown, even if it was tiny. But as her touched the grass, her broom jerked and suddenly rose. "Hey!" Hayley gasped as the broom floated upward, tugging her with it. "Potter," Madame Hooch barked. "DOWN." That caught the eyes of James, Sirius, Remus, and Peter. James held his broom tighter, worried. Hayley tried to lean forward to slow it, but the broom lifted higher, gliding a few feet above the rest of the class. Students below watched in awe and envy and fear. Iris yelled, "How are you even doing that?" "I'm not," Hayley shouted back. But the broom felt natural in her hands. She adjusted her grip, leaned slightly to one side, and the broom obeyed instantly, like it trusted her. Madame Hooch whistled sharply. "Excellent reflexes, Miss Potter, but land. Now." Hayley swallowed and slowly lowered the broom. When her feet hit the ground, a few Gryffindor clapped. James sighs in relief as his grip loosed. Even some of the Slytherins stared. Madam Hooch stopped in front of her, eyes narrowed like a hawk. "Who taught you how to ride like that?" "No one, Professor," Hayley said honestly. Madam Hooch studied her for a long second, then nodded. "You have talent, dangerous but useful. Keep that broom grounded unless I tell you otherwise." Hayley nodded quickly. Iris exhaled with relief. Time skip, end of lesson. By the end of the hour, Iris managed to hover without shrieking. A Slytherin boy fell face first into the grass, twice. Madam Hooch confiscated one broom for attempted homicide. Hayley hovered 3 more times, each smoother than the last. As they walked back to the castle, Iris panted, "I am never doing that again." "Yes, you are," Hayley said, grinning. "No, never ever. You'll love it." "Hayley, a broom tried to eat my shoe." Hayley laughed, hair whipping in the breeze. She glanced back at the pitch. For a moment, she imagined herself soaring high above it, wind in her face, crowds cheering, nothing but sky. She didn't know what it meant yet, but she knew one thing. She wanted to fly again. Chapter 12, Halloween in Snape's Drawing. Time skip, Halloween at Hogwarts. Halloween at Hogwarts felt like stepping into a fairy tale. The castle was transformed. Floating jack-o'-lanterns drifted lazily beneath the enchanted ceiling, their carved faces glowing warm gold. Bats swooped gently overhead, squeaking softly as they dodged bewitched streamers. The smell of pumpkin spice, warm cider, and caramel apples drifted through the corridors, making Hayley's stomach rumble every time she turned a corner. "This is the best day ever," Iris squealed as they entered Transfiguration to find the desks had turned into giant candy bars. Marlene bit into the corner of hers. "Vanilla, perfect." "But how do we write on them?" Hayley asked. "You don't," Marlene smirked. "McGonagall gives us the morning off." Even McGonagall's lips twitched with amusement. Hayley looks around, and she notices James acting suspicious along with Sirius, and she looks confused for a moment, but shrugs it off. Time skip, hallway. After lunch, Hayley and Iris walked together towards Charms, dodging Peeves, who was floating through the air, dressed like a pumpkin-headed warlord. "Trick or treat, little feet," he shrieked, throwing miniature fireworks at a screaming group of Ravenclaws. Hayley grabbed Iris's sleeve. "This way." They ducked into a quieter side corridor, one rarely used except by older students. The torches flickered dimly, and a row of dusty suits of armor muttered complaints about drafty hallways. As they hurried along, Hayley noticed something fluttering on the floor. A piece of parchment. She bent down, picking it up. Her heart stuttered. It wasn't parchment, it was a drawing. A beautifully detailed sketch of a girl with soft red curls and bright eyes, Lily Evans. Hayley looked down the corridor instinctively and spotted a familiar black-haired shape turning a corner. "Snape," she muttered. "It must be his." Iris blinked. "He drew that." "It's good," Hayley whispered. "Really good." Iris chewed her lip. "You're going to return it, right?" "Of course," Hayley said immediately. "I think he'd want it back." She jogged toward the corner. "Snape," she called. "Hey, wait." He stiffened. She tried again, louder this time. "Severus, you dropped something." He turned slightly, just enough for her to see his profile, pale face, hooked nose, dark curtain of hair. But when he met her eyes and registered her Gryffindor robes and her family resemblance, something cold shuddered across his expression. His jaw tightened, then he turned away. "Come on, Hales," Iris whispered nervously. "He clearly doesn't want to talk." "No," Hayley said softly. "Not until I give this back." She tried one more time, stepping into the middle of the hall. "Look, I don't care what house you're in, and I'm not here because of James or Sirius or anyone else. You dropped this, you should have it." Her voice echoed off the stone. Snape paused at the far end of the corridor for a moment. Hayley thought he might turn around, but he walked away. Slow, stiff, almost hurt, but unwilling to let her see it. Hayley exhaled, looking down at the drawing again. Lily's face stared up at her, gentle, kind, captured with a tenderness that made Hayley's chest ache. "I'll give it back to him tomorrow," Hayley whispered. "Maybe he'll listen then." Time skip the feast. The Great Hall looked like something out of a dream when they arrived for dinner. Hundreds of floating pumpkins glowed above the tables. Orange mist drifted along the floor like low fog. Skeletons played violins on a raised platform, their bony fingers clacking against the string. Hayley and Iris slid into their seats beside Marlene, who was already stuffing chocolate spiders into her mouth. "Try one," Marlene insisted. "They crunch." "Nope," Iris said instantly. Dumbledore stood, arms spread wide. "Happy Halloween. Let the feast begin." With a shimmer of gold light, the table filled. Pumpkin pasties, treacle tarts, chocolate frogs, mounds of mashed potatoes, whole roasted turkeys, glittering bowls of sweets. Hayley felt warm all over, the laughter, the music, the glow. It was unlike anything she'd ever experienced. James waved at her from the older student's end of the table, Sirius beside him wearing vampire fangs and pretending to hiss at people. Hayley noticed Remus isn't with them, and she looks at James, who mouthed at her. "He feels ill." Hayley didn't push, and she looks over to Lily, who is laughing with Alice and Mary, not noticing Severus sitting alone at the Slytherin table, looking pale and withdrawn. Hayley's eyes softened. She clutched the drawing gently in her pocket. Tomorrow, she'd give it back, even if he hated her surname, even if he avoided her. Some things deserved kindness. Time skip, night in the common room. By the time they got back to Gryffindor Tower, Hayley's stomach hurt from laughing, eating, and trying to outrun Peeves' floating toffee bombs. The fire crackled warmly. Students lounged in costumes, playing games, trading sweets. Someone enchanted a pumpkin to chase Sirius around the room. Hayley curled into an armchair with a blanket, pulling out her small journal. She flipped to a new page, dipped her quill, and began to write. "Dear Mum and Dad, Happy Halloween from Hogwarts. Today was amazing. The whole castle was glowing with pumpkins and magic. I saw James fly for fun in the courtyard. He said he was preparing for next match, but really, he was just showing off. Typical James. Peeves threw fireworks at me again. Just a normal day here. But something else happened too. Something I don't really know how to explain. I found a drawing today. A really beautiful one of Lily. Snape drew it. I don't think anyone knows he can draw like that. I tried to give it back, but he wouldn't let me. He walked away. I don't think he hates me. I think he just hates the name Potter. But I'll try again tomorrow. It feels important. I miss you both, but I think I'm starting to understand why James loved this place. Good night, Mum and Dad. Love, Hayley." She closed the journal softly. Outside, the wind howled gently against the castle walls, and the floating pumpkins bobbled in the window's reflection like watchful, warm guardians. Hayley smiled sleepily. Hogwarts was mad, and magical and confusing. But tonight, wrapped in blanket and candlelight, Hayley felt full of warmth, of curiosity, of belonging. She whispered to herself, "Exactly where I'm supposed to be." Chapter 13, A Small Good Thing. Time skip hallway. Sunday morning at Hogwarts was quiet, the kind of peaceful hush that blanketed the castle after a night of feasting and chaos. The sun streamed softly through the windows, dust swirling lazily in golden beams. Hayley slipped out of the dormitory early, the folded drawing tucked safely in her pocket. Iris, still half asleep, had mumbled, "You're going now, before breakfast." Hayley nodded. "If I don't do it now, I'll chicken out." And she almost did. Snape never lingered in one place long. He moved the way cats did, silently, through shadows, always avoiding attention. The few times Hayley thought she saw him in the hallway, he vanished around a corner before she could take 2 steps. She wasn't giving up, not on something this important. She tried the library, but it was empty. She tried the dungeon's corridor. A few older Slytherins glared at her, but Snape was nowhere in sight. She tried the courtyard, where frost glazed the grass, still no luck. She sighed, brushing her fingers over the folded parchment in her pocket. Maybe he's in class or... She turned a corner and slammed straight into someone. Oi. Hayley stumbled back, books scattered everywhere. A boy her age, pale skin, sleek dark hair, and gray eyes that could have frozen lava stared at her in surprise. He wore Slytherin green, but his expression wasn't cold, just startled. Regulus Black, younger brother of Sirius. Quieter but sharper and unlike Sirius, very much still a Slytherin. Before Hayley could apologize, another voice spoke gently. You, okay. A girl stepped forward, kneeling to help pick up the fallen books. She was petite, with soft dark curls and warm hazel eyes. Her Slytherin tie was neatly tucked into her sweater vest. Sophia Crouch. Slytherin first year, polite, soft-spoken. Nothing like the older Crouch family, members the world whispered about. Hayley blinked. I'm fine, sorry, I wasn't looking. Regulus brushed off his robes, then shrugged. It's fine, happens. His voice wasn't harsh, more reserved, watchful. Sophia offered a small smile. You Gryffindors run everywhere. Hayley laughed nervously. It's a problem. Regulus tilted his head. Are you looking for something? Hayley hesitated, then swallowed before nodding. Well, someone. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the folded drawing. Regulus's eyebrows twitched upward. Sophia gasped softly. That's really good. Hayley nodded. Snape dropped it yesterday. I've been trying to give it back. Regulus blinked, twice. You want to give something back to Severus? Yes, Hayley said simply. It matters, and I think he'd want it back. Sophia exchanged a glance with Regulus, not suspicious, but surprised. Most Gryffindors wouldn't care, Sophia said quietly. Especially not a Potter. Hayley bit her lip. Well, I'm not James. Regulus's eyes softened, just a fraction. He understood that sentence more than she realized. Hayley looked between them unsure. Do either of you, know when I'd actually catch him. He keeps avoiding me. Regulus snorted softly. He avoids everyone who doesn't fit into exactly 3 categories. Sophia nodded. Me, him, and Lily. Hayley's cheeks warmed. She held out the drawing. Could one of you give it to him? He doesn't have to talk to me, just make sure it gets back where it belongs. Regulus hesitated for a moment, not because he didn't trust her, but because he was cautious by nature. Then he reached out and carefully took the folded parchment, his fingers gentle. I'll give it to him, he said, today. Hayley smiled with relief. Thank you, Regulus. He blinked, not used to gratitude from a Potter, then nodded once. You're welcome. As he ticked the drawing into his robe, Sophia gave Hayley a delighted grin. You know, she said, her voice bright, you're nothing like what the older years say. Hayley laughed. Is that good or bad? Sophia beamed. Good, definitely good. Regulus rolled his eyes, but didn't hide his smile. Hayley waved as she turned to leave. See you around. Regulus lifted a hand slightly, the Regulus version of a wave. Sophia waved enthusiastically. And for the second time, thanks to Dorcas being the first, not all Slytherins looked at her the way Snape or Lucius Malfoy did. Some of them, kind ones, quiet ones, thoughtful ones, were good people, just like Gryffindors, just like anyone. Time skipped that night. Later, when the common room glowed with firelight and chatter, Hayley curled up with her journal. She dipped her quill slowly, thinking of Lily's smile in the drawing, thinking of Snape's stiff retreat, thinking of Regulus's hesitant hand, thinking of Sophia's warm words. She began to write. Dear Mum and Dad, I had a strange and a good day. I tried to return Snape's drawing of Lily again, but he kept avoiding me because of my surname is Potter. I guess he thinks I'm like James. I'm not. Maybe one day he'll believe that. But something unexpected happened. I ran into Regulus Black and Sophia Crouch. They were nice, really nice. Sophia said, I wasn't what the older students said Potters were like. And Regulus, he took the drawing. He promised to give it back to Snape today. It felt like a small good thing. I think Hogwarts is teaching me not just magic, but how to understand people too. Some are prickly, some are quiet, some are hiding. And some, even in Slytherin, are kind. I hope Snape gets the drawing back. Love, Hayley. She closed her journal, letting out a small breath. Tomorrow would bring new classes, new hallways, new mysteries. And maybe, just maybe, a world where Slytherin and Gryffindor didn't feel so far apart. Chapter 14, The Look Behind the Mask. Time skip next morning. Monday morning brought the usual chaos of students hurrying through the corridors, clutching books, and toast stolen from breakfast. Hayley moved with the crowd, Iris chatting beside her about how their next charms lesson might involve actual spell casting on objects that move. But even as Iris rambled excitedly, Hayley's mind wasn't entirely on classes. Her fingers absently brushed her pocket, now empty, where the drawing had been. She found herself glancing around corners, half wondering if Snape had it back, half wondering if this would change anything, half wondering if he would look at her differently. He probably wouldn't, but the hope flickered anyway. As they rounded the corner toward the courtyard stairs, Hayley paused, eyes catching on a scene unfolding ahead. Regulus Black stood near the stone railing, hands tucked behind his back, speaking softly to someone. His black hair glinted like ink in the pale morning sun. The someone was Severus Snape. Hayley slowed, instinctively keeping to the shadows of a pillar. Iris followed her gaze. "Is that?" Hayley nodded. "Yeah." Regulus withdrew something from his robe. A folded parchment Hayley instantly recognized even from a distance. The drawing. Snape's shoulders stiffened visibly. His dark eyes flicked around warily, as if expecting mockery. Regulus said something quietly, something gentle, something without judgment. Hayley couldn't hear the words over the murmur of students, but she could see Snape's expression flicker confusion, then suspicion, then something almost fragile. His fingers twitched. Regulus offered the drawing again. Snape finally took it, not snatched, not ripped, just took it. His hands were careful, almost reverent. Hayley watched his thumb brush Lily's outline through the parchment. Something tightened in her chest. The softness in Snape's face lasted only a second before he shuddered it away again, snapping his expression back into its usual guarded mask. Regulus nodded once firm, reassuring. Snape gave a stiff nod back. Then, like a shadow dispersing, he turned abruptly and walked down the dungeon stairs, clutching the drawing tightly. Regulus's gaze followed him for another heartbeat. Then he turned, spotted Hayley watching from the hallway, and offered her a small, subtle nod. The kind that said, "He got it, he knows it was you, and it mattered." Hayley smiled back, tiny but sincere. Regulus didn't return the smile, not fully, but the corner of his mouth twitched as he slipped into the crowd. Time skip lunch. Hayley spotted Lily alone at the Gryffindor table, reading a letter from home. Her smile was warm, soft in a way Hayley rarely saw anymore. Hayley wondered, did Lily know Snape had drawn her? Did she know he kept it close? Did she know he'd gotten it back that morning? Probably not. But Hayley's chest ached with a feeling she couldn't name. She took her seat beside Iris, but her eyes wandered toward the Slytherin table, just for a second. Snape sat there, alone except for the occasional whisper from other Slytherins passing by. His posture was tight, hunched, defensive. But his left hand was beneath the tablecloth, gripping something gently. Hayley could tell, she just knew. She didn't stare, didn't wave, didn't expect thanks. It wasn't that kind of moment. Time skip after class. That night, Hayley curled into her favorite armchair, the fire crackling softly, the warm glow making her feel safe and thoughtful. She opened her journal again. This time she didn't write a letter, just entries, private thoughts. Today I saw Regulus give Snape the drawing back. He took it like it was something fragile. He didn't look at me, but I think he knew. Maybe he doesn't hate me. Maybe he just doesn't know what to do with a Potter who isn't James. I hope he keeps the drawing safe. I hope he knows someone cared enough to return it. Maybe that matters more than talking. Hayley. She closed the journal softly, watching the embers glow in the fireplace. Somewhere below in the dungeons, Severus Snape was probably staring at that drawing again. And somewhere across the castle, Regulus Black and Sophia Crouch were probably being teased for helping a Gryffindor. And Hayley felt the quiet shift of something new. Not friendship, not yet, but understanding. And in Hogwarts, sometimes that was the beginning of everything. Chapter 15, The Warmest Winter. Time skip, December at Hogwarts. December arrived at Hogwarts like a breath of winter magic. Overnight, the castle transformed. Frost glazed the windows like silver lace. The grounds glimmered under a blanket of snow, so clean it sparked. Giant icicles hung from the towers like teeth of crystal. And inside, Hogwarts glowed. Garlands of enchanted holly wrapped the staircases. Floating snowflakes drifted through the corridors without ever melting. The suits of armor sang carols. Badly. Warmly firelight flickered in every common room. Hayley woke to the faint sound of bells somewhere in the castle. "It's December," Iris whispered from her bed, eyes shining. "It feels like the castle knows." It did. Time skipped the Great Hall. Hayley and Iris walked in for breakfast, and both stopped dead. The Great Hall looked like a scene out of a snow globe. 12 enormous Christmas trees lined the walls, each decorated differently. One sparkled with tiny golden snitches. One was covered in shimmering icicles. One had enchanted candles drifting around it. One smelled like peppermint and cocoa. Snow fell softly from the enchanted ceiling above, but never touched the students. Hayley held out her hand, letting a snowflake hover millimeters above her palm before dissolving into silver light. "I love this place," she whispered. "Same," Iris whispered back. James passed with Sirius and Remus, all three with mugs of hot chocolate in hand. Sirius leaned in dramatically. "Girls, the trees are alive this year. One tried to steal my scarf." "Because you tired to climb it," Remus corrected. "It was a strategic ascent," Sirius defended. "Into a tree," James said. Hayley laughed until her stomach hurt, but after a few minutes, she grabbed Remus's arm and pulls him close carefully. "Are you okay? I didn't see you during Halloween," Hayley asked curiously. Remus thought of a lie for a moment, then comes out with, "Just had a flu. It was bad." James and Sirius looked at each other knowing the truth, but stayed quiet. Time skip outside. During break, students poured onto the grounds in scarves and mittens. Hayley and Iris joined a massive snowball fight between Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, which turned into every house versus Peeves when he began dropping exploding snowballs from the battlements. Someone shouted, "Use cover." Someone else screamed, "He stole MYMITTNS." Hayley bent to pack a snowball, and her magic surged. The snowball in her hands grew, and grew, and grew until she was holding a snowball the size of a pumpkin. Iris blinked. Hayley. It wasn't me. It was absolutely you." Hayley grinned. "Throw it together." Iris nodded. They hurled the massive snowball at Peeves. It flew upward, too powerful, and smacked him in the face with a whump. Peeves spun in midair, sputtering snow. "Who did THAAT?" Hayley grabbed Iris's sleeve. "Run." They did, laughing the whole way. Time skip evening. That evening, Hayley walked down a quieter corridor on her way back from the library. She wasn't looking for anyone, but she noticed something anyway. Severus Snape stood near a window, staring at something in his hands, something small, folded, familiar. The drawing. Hayley slowed instinctively, staying out of sight. She didn't want to intrude. Lily walked past the hallway slowly, humming to herself, carrying a wrapped present for Marlene. Snape's eyes flicked up, longing, lonely, soft for just a heartbeat. He hid the drawing immediately. Lily didn't see him. Snape didn't call her name. And Hayley's heart pinched in her chest, because she understood exactly what that felt like. wanting someone but feeling like you weren't allowed to. She stepped away without being seen. Time skip, Gryffindor Tower. Later that week, Hayley and Iris returned to Gryffindor Tower with cups of hot chocolate after dinner. They nearly ran straight into Regulus Black and Sophia Crouch, who were waiting outside the portrait hole with packages of small wrapped sweets. "For Gryffindors?" Iris asked, startled. Sophia laughed softly. "It's Christmas." "Even lions deserve chocolate frogs," Regulus said, handing one to Hayley with a shy glance. Hayley blinked in surprise. "Thank you." Regulus shrugged, cheeks slightly pink in the cold. "It's just sweets," he muttered. "It's really nice," Hayley said, smiling warmly. Sophia nodded. "Friends or not, houses shouldn't stop kindness." "Agreed," Hayley said. It was the beginning of something small and good. Time skip, common room. Gryffindor Tower became a riot of red, gold, and chaos. Sirius enchanted tinsel to slither around James like a snake. James accidentally set a wreath on 4 and blamed Sirius. Remus put bow ties on all the portraits. The fat lady insisted on singing carols every time someone entered. Hayley and Iris helped decorate the tree, actually decorate, because the ornaments kept floating away. At one point, a bauble bonked Hayley in the head. "Hey," she shouted. "It's not me," James said. "It's definitely me," Sirius admitted proudly. The laughter never ended, and Hayley loved every second. Time skip, Christmas Eve. That night, Hayley curled beneath her blankets, the dormitory filled with soft candlelight and the faint jingling of enchanted bells. She opened her journal and wrote slowly, carefully. December at Hogwarts. The castle is glowing and warm. There are trees everywhere, and snow that falls indoors but never melts. Everyone seems happier this time of year, even Snape looked softer, just once. Regulus and Sophia gave us sweets. They probably stole of an older Slytherin. Lily smiled more. James didn't set anything on fire today. A miracle. I miss Mum and Dad. But Hogwarts feels like it's filling the space they left behind. I don't know how to explain it. It's like this castle has a heart, and it's letting me be part of it. Love, Hayley. She closed the journal, hugged her pillow, and listened to the quiet winter wind whispering outside the window. Christmas was coming, and for the first time in years, Hayley felt warm. Chapter 16, Christmas. Time skip, girls' dormitories. Snow fell gently outside the Gryffindor Tower windows, covering the castle in soft white. Inside, the fire glowed with golden warmth, and the common room smelled faintly of hot chocolate, toasted marshmallows, and evergreen. Hayley stirred under her blankets, blinking awake to the sound of excited whispers. "Presents," Iris whispered from the next bed, eyes shining. Hayley grinned sleepily. "Presents." They both scrambled out of bed, slippers on, and hurried down the spiral staircase toward the common room. Time skip, common room. The sight stole Hayley's breath. The common room was transformed again, garlands sparkling, candles floating lazily, the Christmas tree twinkling with golden light. A pile of wrapped gifts sat at its base. A sleepy Sirius sat on the floor in red and gold pajamas, hair sticking up in every direction. James sat beside him, wearing a sweater Euphemia had clearly knitted bright red with a giant J on the front. "Morning munchkins," Sirius yawned. "Hayley and Iris are literally 1 year younger than us," James muttered. "They're short," Sirius countered. "Therefore, munchkin." Hayley rolled her eyes and plopped beside them. "Open mine first," James said, shoving a lumpy gift to her. "I thought Christmas was about giving," Remus said lazily from an armchair. "It is," James said. "I gave her the chance to open my amazing present." Hayley tore the paper, revealing a Gryffindor scarf with Hayley embroidered in gold. Her heart swelled. "Thanks, James." He looked smug. "Knew you'd love it." Then came Sirius's gift, a little enchanted snow globe of Hogwarts. Inside, tiny versions of students flew around the castle on broomsticks. "It's," Adorable, Hayley said, mesmerized. I call it How Hayley Will Die, Sirius declared proudly. Dangerously good, Sirius corrected. Remus gave Hayley his gift, a necklace with a wolf paw pendant, and she looks at Remus. Thanks, Remus, Hayley said softly. Remus smiled. Iris opened her presents too, a book from Remus, a prank kit from Sirius, and a soft blue scarf knitted by Euphemia. James insisted she send extras. Time skipped the Great Hall. Later in the Great Hall, students opened letters and packages from home. Hayley unfolded one from her parents, smiling at the neat handwriting. Come home for Christmas, sweetheart. Bring Iris with you if she'd like. We'd love to have her. We'll send the flu time. Hayley gasped. Iris, Mum says you can come home with us for Christmas. Iris froze, fork halfway to her mouth, which Lily caught from the corner of her eye. Me, really? Mum loves when James brings friends. She'll love you too. Iris blinked rapidly, wiping her eyes quickly. I'd love that. Across the table, James leaned over. Trust me, it's great. Mum cooks enough to feed the entire school. Dad tells stories that make Sirius cry. I was 11, Sirius interrupted, and the story was emotional. And Mum will definitely adopt you, James finished. Iris flushed, smiling shyly. Time skip, flew fireplaces. That afternoon, after packing small bags and bundling up in cloaks, Hayley, Iris, and Sirius headed to the Floo fireplaces under McGonagall's supervision. Behave, McGonagall warned Sirius. I always behave, Sirius lied. She raised a brow. I said behave, not create chaos strategically. Sirius grinned. Ah, that's different. They stepped into the emerald flames, and moments later, stumbled into the warmth of the Potter family living room. It was cozy, filled with festive lights, garlands, a crackling fireplace, and the smell of gingerbread. Euphemia appeared instantly warm-eyed, soft smile, wearing a reindeer-patterned apron. Oh, Hayley, sweetheart, James wrote us you'd bring a friend. She stopped when she saw Iris small, nervous, scarf wrapped tightly around her. Euphemia's face softened. Oh, sweetheart, she said, gently kneeling. Welcome to the Potter house. Iris blinked. Thank you. Euphemia hugged her instantly as Hayley beamed. Fleamont greeted Sirius necked, ruffling his hair. You keeping trouble out of Hogwarts, lad? Who, me? Sirius tried. Fleamont laughed. That's what I thought. James arrived a second later through the flue, covered in soot. Mum, I told you Sirius would push me. I didn't push you, Sirius said. I guided you. Time skip, Christmas morning. Hayley woke to Sirius shouting at James. You stole M.Y. stocking. It was empty, PADFOOT. I was still using it. Hayley burst out laughing. Downstairs, the living room was filled with presents. Iris received a knitted jumper from Euphemia, blue with snowflakes. A book of wizarding riddles from Fleamont. A silver clip shaped like a lily from Hayley. A lion-shaped plushie from James. A muggle snow globe from Sirius. Hayley received her gifts, too warm and cozy. But seeing Iris's joy for once instead of fear to go home was the real present. They spent the day eating, laughing, playing games, and listening to Fleamont tell stories. Iris stuck close to Hayley the whole time, smiling in disbelief at every warm moment. Time skip Hayley's and Iris's room. Back in her room, Hayley sat on her bed with a quill in hand. The house was quiet, except the distant sound of Sirius and James bickering about exploding snap cards. She opened her journal. Christmas. Iris came home with us. She smiled more today than I ever seen her smile. Mum hugged her. Dad told her stories. James gave her a lion plushie, and she pretended she didn't love it, but she loved it. Sirius tried to adopt her. Mum said no. Hogwarts feels like home, but today felt like family. Love, Hayley. She closed the journal, hugging the new scarf her mother knitted her. Downstairs, she heard Sirius shout, James, PUT the snowball DOWN. Hayley giggled into her pillow. Christmas at the Potters was perfect, and she was so glad Iris was part of it. Chapter 17, New Spell. Time skip back at Hogwarts. The Hogwarts Express ride back from Christmas break was full of warmth and chatter. Hayley and Iris shared chocolate frogs from Mrs. Potter, while Sirius told dramatic stories about James slipping on ice. He screamed like a banshee. Sirius laughed. Did not, James yelled. By the time the train slowed into Hogsmeade Station, the winter sky was dark and glittering with stars. Snowflakes fell in thick, soft flurries as students rushed into the castle, excited to return. Inside, the Great Hall sparkled with post-holiday decor. Icicles hung from the ceiling, charmed not to melt, and snow drifted down in shimmering flakes that vanished before touching the tables. But Hayley noticed something else the moment she walked in. Lily and Snape weren't speaking. Lily laughed with Marlene and Alice. Snape walked past silently, his shoulders tense, eyes down. He didn't look toward Lily once. Hayley felt a soft ache tug inside her chest, for both of them. Time skip hallway. When Hayley and Iris reached the staircase leading toward the Gryffindor Tower, they nearly collided with Regulus Black and Sophia Crouch coming down. Regulus paused. Sophia smiled brightly. "Welcome back, have a good Christmas." Hayley nodded. "Yeah, you." Sophia rolled her eyes in fond exasperation. Quiet mostly involved Regulus pretending he wasn't interested in the heirloom his mother gave him. Regulus went rigid. Hayley blinked. Heirloom. Sophia nodded. An engraved black family signet ring, real sliver. Apparently it marks the continuation of noble bloodlines, or, she waved her hand dramatically, something like that. Regulus cleared his throat, cheeks faintly pink. "It's not. Pretending. It's a symbol of heritage. My mother was pleased." Hayley heard what he didn't say, which means I did something right. Iris whispered, "Sounds heavy." Regulus's eyes flickered, just for a moment, with something vulnerable beneath the polished composure. "It is," he admitted softly. Hayley smiled gently, not mocking, not pitying, just understanding. "Well, it suits you," she said. Regulus looked up, startled. His gray eyes met hers, and something in his shoulders eased. "Good to see you back," he said quietly. Hayley felt her cheeks warm. "You too, Regulus." Sophia grinned between them, like she could see something neither dared name. They parted at the landing, the air tingling with something new and unspoken. Hayley didn't know what had changed over Christmas, but she knew this. Regulus was still a Slytherin, still quiet, still sharp. But now, he didn't look at her like she was the enemy. He looked at her like he'd started to choose things for himself. Time skip, Gryffindor common room. That night after unpacking, the common room glowed with firelight. Upper years lounged with cups of cocoa, a few played wizard chess, and Sirius tried to charm James's Quidditch robes to sing carols, but he was losing. Hayley settled into a quiet corner with Iris, textbooks spread out in front of them. "Let's practice some charms before classes start again," Iris said, flipping through her book. "Something simple." "I can do simple," Hayley said, cracking her fingers dramatically. She raised her wand and aimed at herself, intending to cast a warming charm. Iris instantly panicked. "No, don't practice spells on yourself. That's like rule number 1. "It's a tiny charm," Hayley said confidently. "What's the worst that?" She pointed her wand at her arm. "Illusio abscondir." A soft shimmer, a ripple, a cold rush like wind against her skin. "Hayley," Iris whispered. Hayley looked down. Her hand wasn't there. Her arm wasn't there. Her entire body was gone. Only her voice remained. "Iris, I can't see you." "Iris, I can't see me either." Iris slapped a hand over her mouth to muffle a shriek. Okay, don't panic. I'm panicking." "Right, so you panic for the both of us." Hayley felt around wildly, accidentally knocking books off the table. "Ow, that was my knee, I think." Iris crawled around, whispering frantically. Okay. Anti-vanishing charms, counter spells, oh Merlin, Hayley, if McGonagall finds out. Don't say her name, Hayley hissed invisibly. She's like a bat, she'll appear out of nowhere. Iris flipped pages desperately. Finally, she found it. Okay, counterspell, stand still. I can't see where still is. Just don't move. Iris pointed her wand. Revelo corporum. A flash of soft gold swept across the air, and slowly, Hayley shimmered back into existence. First her hands, then her arms, then her whole body. She gasped, touching her face dramatically. I have a nose again. Iris sagged against the chair with relief. Oh, thank Merlin. Hayley sat down hard. I turned invisible. You invented a spell. No, yes, help. Do not tell James, Iris said immediately. Do not tell Sirius, Hayley added. Do not tell Remus, Iris insisted. Do not tell anyone. They looked at each other then, in perfect unison. Especially not McGonagall. Hayley buried her face in her hands. What if she finds out? Iris shuddered. She'll put you in a lab, or a glass case, or ask you to demonstrate until you disappear again. Hayley swallowed. She didn't want to disappear again. At least, not accidentally. Time skip, bedtime. Later, when the common room had emptied, Hayley sat on her bed, candle flickering softly. She opened her journal and wrote, January 4th. I turned myself invisible today. Completely invisible. I didn't mean to. I didn't even know the spell I said. Iris said I invented it. I hope I didn't. I'm scared and excited. What if I can't control it? What if someone finds out? What if it happens again without warning? I've decided to keep this a secret, at least, until I understand what I did. Hayley. She closed the journal, heart thumbing softly in her chest. Tomorrow, Hogwarts would wake again. Classes would begin. Life would move on. But Hayley Potter was no longer just doing magic, she was creating it. And that was terrifying and extraordinary. Chapter 18, The Magic She Can't Hide. Time skip, Transfiguration. The first Transfiguration class after Christmas was held in a room still decorated with elegant silver icicles and floating snowflakes that never melted. Students filed in sleepily, rubbing their eyes and clutching warm parchment cups of cocoa McGonagall allowed only during winter months. Hayley took her usual seat beside Iris, but her hands trembled slightly as she opened her book. She didn't sleep well. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt the spell pulsing faintly under her skin like static in her fingers. She didn't trust her wand. She didn't trust herself. She wasn't sure she was done being invisible. Iris nudged her gently. You're okay, she whispered. Hayley nodded, but she wasn't. Not really. Time skip class begins. McGonagall entered in her emerald robes, sweeping silently to the front of the room. Good morning, she said, tone crisp. Today we will review partial transfigurations focusing on. Her sentence paused, not for dramatic effect, not for attention, but because her sharp eyes had locked onto one student, Hayley Potter. Hayley stiffened. McGonagall's expression didn't change, but something in her gaze narrowed, assessing, calculating, noticing. Hayley swallowed hard and looked down at her textbook. McGonagall resumed speaking, but her eyes flicked back to Hayley more than once. Halfway through class, McGonagall asked the students to practice turning beetles into buttons. Simple, harmless, beginner level. Hayley raised her wand slowly, cautiously. Vertifacio. The beetle shimmered, wiggled, and then vanished. Not transformed, not moved, not transfigured. Hayley's breath caught. She slapped her hand over the spot where it was, hopping no one saw but McGonagall definitely saw. Her head snapped up sharply. Miss Potter. Hayley froze. Yes, Professor. Did your beetle just? McGonagall's eyes narrowed. Case to exist. No, Hayley squeaked. No, I think it wandered away. Iris facepalmed silently beside her. McGonagall stepped closer. wand flicking once. A faint shimmer appeared on Hayley's desk, the outline of a beetle, completely invisible. McGonagall's brow arched. That was all she said, but that single felt heavier than 1,000 glares. She turned away, but her eyes lingered on Hayley again and again throughout the lesson. Time skip after class. After class, Hayley hurried out, hopping to escape before anyone said anything, but James caught up to her on the stairs, tugging gently at the back of her robe. "Hey," he said softly, "what's up?" Hayley blinked. "What do you mean?" James frowned, not angrily, not teasingly, just brotherly. "You're off," he said, studying her face. Off, not just tired." Hayley's heart pounded. She shook her head quickly. "I'm fine, James." "Hayley." James said her name the way Mum or Dad would say it, quiet, patient, impossible to lie to. Hayley swallowed, but what was she supposed to tell him? "Hey, James, I accidentally turned invisible, and now my magic's weird and I'm terrified." "No, absolutely no." "I'm just adjusting," Hayley said. "Back to school stuff." James didn't look convinced. "You know you can tell me anything, right? You know that, yeah." His voice softened. "I'm not perfect, but I'm still your brother." Hayley's chest tightened. "I know," she whispered. James squeezed her shoulders, then walked ahead, giving her space, but leaving the offer hanging gently between them. Time skip common room. Later that afternoon, between classes, Iris came running into the common room pale as parchment. "Hayley," she hissed, "McGonagall talked to me." Hayley stood up so fast she tripped over her own bag. "She what?" "She noticed your beetle turning invisible, and how you kept glancing at your hands, and how you were shaking, and how your magic flickered when you picked up your wand." Hayley groaned into her hands. "Oh no, oh no, oh no." "She asked me if you were feeling well," Iris continued breathlessly, "and I panicked and said you had seasonal allergies." "Iris, it's January." "I know, Hayley, but I panicked and it came out of my mouth." Hayley sank onto the couch, burying her face. "She's on to me," Hayley whispered. "She's not on to you," Iris said quickly, "but she knows something's weird." "Because something is weird." Iris sat beside her. "Hayley, we need to figure out exactly what you did." Hayley stared at her trembling hands. "I know." Tim Skip, Great Hall. That evening at dinner, Hayley felt it again. Not a stare, a presence. She looked up, and at the staff table, McGonagall was not eating. She was watching the Gryffindor table quietly, her gaze sliding now and then to where Hayley sat. Not suspicious, not angry, concerned. Hayley felt her stomach knot. Time skip night. Under her blankets, wand lit softly beneath the covers, Hayley opened her journal. She wrote shakily. January 6th. McGonagall knows something's wrong, but she doesn't know what, but she knows. James is starting to notice too. I didn't mean to do it again. I didn't even try. The beetle went invisible like it was. Easy. My magic feels strange, like it's walking ahead of me instead of beside me. I'm scared, but I don't want anyone else to be scared too. Especially James, especially McGonagall. I have to figure this out before they do. Hayley. She closed her journal, heart pounding. Her wand hummed softly in her hand, like it was waiting for something only she could find. Chapter 19, When Magic Starts to Wake. Time skip, Transfiguration. Transfiguration, that Thursday felt heavier than usual. Hayley tried to act normal, to keep her wand steady, her voice calm, but her magic still hummed under her skin like an unattended kettle ready to boil over. Every spell she cast felt too sharp, like her power was reaching ahead of her instead of following her wand. McGonagall's eyes tracked her every motion, not suspicious, not angry, but alert, like a cat watching a mouse with wings. When the bell rang, students gathered their books and hurried out, eager for lunch. "Miss Potter," McGonagall's voice cut through the chatter. Hayley froze. Iris looked back, worry etched into her face, but McGonagall added crisply, "Just Miss Potter." Hayley's stomach dropped. Time skip, the empty classroom. The door shut behind the last student, muddling hallway noises. McGonagall stood at her desk, hands folded, expression unreadable. "Hayley," she began, using her first name, which she almost never did. "Have you been feeling unwell?" Hayley's throat tightened. "No, Professor." McGonagall paced slowly, her robes whispering against the stone floor. "Your magic has shifted." Hayley blinked. "Shifted?" McGonagall nodded. "I have taught hundreds of young witches and wizards. Their magic wobbles, sometimes misbehaves, but yours is not erratic. It is evolving." Hayley's blood ran cold. Evolving. She swallowed. "I don't understand." McGonagall turned, wand in hand. "Lift your wand." Hayley hesitated, then did. "I would like you to perform Lumos." Hayley pointed her wand and whispered, "Lumos." Light burst from the tip of the wand, but brighter than usual. Too bright. It flared gold instead of white, hot and warm, casting long shadows across the walls. McGonagall raised an eyebrow. "Again." Hayley extinguished it. "Lumos." This time, the light pulsed, not flickering but breathing, like it had a heartbeat. McGonagall leaned forward slightly. Her voice softened, barely above a whisper. "What else have you done, Miss Potter?" Hayley's pulse hammered in her ears. She nearly said nothing, nearly lied, nearly crumbled. But before her mouth could betray her, however, a sound outside. A shoe scraping stone. Someone was listening. Hayley goes quiet as McGonagall's head snapped toward the door, wand half raised. "Inside," she called sharply. "Now." The door creaked open, and James stood near the door, hands in pockets, face too guilty and eyes full of worry. "James," McGonagall sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose. "Spying is unbecoming for a Gryffindor." James stepped in, shutting the door behind him. "I wasn't spying," he said quietly. "I was listening." "That is the same thing," McGonagall said dryly. James ignored the remark and turned to his sister. "You're scared," he said softly, "and you don't get scared." Hayley opened her mouth to say something, but nothing came out. McGonagall watched them both, eyes sharp but not unkind. "This is not punishment," she said. "Hayley's magic is uncommon. It must be approached carefully." James slipped beside Hayley, shoulders squared like he was ready to fight a dragon for her. "What's happening to her?" he asked quietly. McGonagall breathes in and out, long and slow. "I do not yet know," she admitted, "but I intend to." Hayley's chest tightened. James's hand brushed hers, a silent of "I'm here." McGonagall pointed her wand to the door. "You are dismissed, both of you. Miss Potter, you will return after dinner. Alone." Hayley nodded numbly, but James didn't move until Hayley did. They stepped into the hallway as the door shut behind them with a soft click. Time skip corridor. James spoke first. "What did you do?" Hayley swallowed hard before replying. "I didn't mean to, it just happened." James took a deep breath. "Hayley, I don't care what it is. We'll figure it out. You're my sister, I've got you." Hayley felt her eyes sting, not from fear or sadness, but from relief. For the first time, she wasn't hiding alone. Time skip night. Hayley sat on her bed with her journal on her lap, as she's about to write in it. January 10th. McGonagall knows something is changing. She didn't get angry, she got worried. That's scarier. James overheard everything. "I thought he'd tease me, but he didn't. He just stayed." Tomorrow, I go back to McGonagall's classroom alone. I don't know what she'll do. I don't know what I'll do. My magic feels like something is waking up, and I don't know if I'm ready. Hayley. She closed the journal, heart pounding. Something was coming and it wasn't stopping. Chapter 20. Magic that Remembers. Time skip McGonagall's office, next evening. The office was silent except for the crackling fire and the scratching of quills enchanted to finish marking essays on her desk. But Professor McGonagall wasn't watching them. Her hands were clasped tightly in front of her, and her expression was sharper. Across from her was sat Albus Dumbledore, his half-moon spectacles glowing in the lamplight, expression calm, too calm. "She didn't perform a spell yesterday, Albus," McGonagall began, voice clipped, holding herself with rigid composure. "She created one." Dumbledore raised an eyebrow. "Created?" McGonagall exhaled through her nose. "In Transfiguration, a simple switching charm. Only it did not switch the objects. Her magic made the beetle invisible. And the Lumos spell I asked her to do last evening, it was pulsing like it was breathing." "Ah," Dumbledore murmured, as if he had been waiting for that sentence. McGonagall raised one of her eyebrows in confusion. "You knew something." "I suspected," he corrected gently. "There are rare children whose magic does not learn, it remembers. Their spells do not evolve with age, they evolve with will." McGonagall paced, tartan robes sweeping sharply behind her. "She is only 12, too young to produce instinctive, self-woven magic, too young to be bending spells without incantation, if she cannot control her emotions." "She may become a threat," Dumbledore finished. "No," McGonagall snapped, eyes flashing. "She may become a target, or worse, frightened of herself." Dumbledore's expression softened, ancient and sorrowful. "James Potter may grow to be brilliant," he said quietly, "but his sister may become something the world has not seen for centuries." The flames in the hearth flickered, as though bowing in agreement. Time skip, history of magic. Professor Binns droned on about goblin rebellions with the enthusiasm of a brick. Hayley tapped her quill impatiently. Iris sat beside her, doodling on her parchment. Up ahead, James was trying to charm a paper broomstick into flying and failing spectacularly. Hayley tried to focus, but her magic didn't. Her quill lifted from her fingers. She froze. "Iris." Before she could finish, the quill scratched words onto her parchment. "Stop ignoring me." Hayley slapped her hand over it. The quill split into 3 identical quills. Iris choked on a gasp. "That is not supposed to happen." James spun around. "What did you do now?" "I didn't do anything." Regulus, seated diagonally across the room, lowered his gaze to hide the fact that he was staring, not in fear, but in fascination. Hayley's cheeks burned. Her magic thrummed under her skin, like something waking and annoyed about it. Time skip, herbology. Greenhouse smelled like rain-soaked leaves and freshly turned earth. Students gathered around tables cluttered with pots of flutterleaf blooms, plants known to respond to magical emotion. Professor Sprout clapped her hands. "These flowers react to your aura. They're shy, so be gentle." Hayley inhaled slowly and reached toward a plant, but the bloom didn't flutter. It bowed like it was greeting her. Then every plant in her row followed, their leaves dipping in perfect synchrony. Pandora Lovegood, dreamy-eyed, soft-voiced, leaned forward whispering, "They're not afraid of you, they're listening." Hayley stiffened. "To what?" Pandora's eyes drifted upward, as though seeing constellations no one else could. "To something older than you." James stared. "That's not normal." Sirius grinned. "No, it's brilliant." Remus murmured, "It's uncontrolled." Professor Sprout approached cautiously, voice tinged with awe. "Miss Potter, magic like yours is not reacting. It's commanding." Hayley stepped back. The plants leaned after her. Regulus watched her from across the table, quill hovering above parchment, forgotten. His eyes were wide, his expression unreadable, equal parts curiosity and quiet admiration. Hayley felt heat rush to her face and quickly looked away. Time skip, astronomy tower, night. The stars glimmered above Hogwarts like ancient watchers, judging silently from the heavens. Hayley sat beside Iris, charts sprawled before her. James, Sirius, Remus, and Peter whispered conspiratorially nearby, likely planning something illegal. Hayley flicked her wand to illuminate her parchment. It glowed gold, soft at first then alive. Her name burned onto the parchment. Hayley Potter, a sense. Remus leaned in, voice hushed. "That's Latin, it means rise." Hayley's wand pulsed like a heartbeat. James stood. "Hales, something's happening again." Boom. A A shockwave burst from her wand, not painful, not destructive, but undeniable. Lanterns flickered out, telescopes rattled, and Sirius whooped like Christmas had arrived early. Remus grabbed him. She's not doing this on purpose. Hayley stared at her hands. It wasn't magic anymore. It was something older, something choosing her, something waking. Time skip stairwell outside the tower. Dumbledore ascended the stairs first, robes whispering against the stone. McGonagall followed, breath uneven. She can't control it, she murmured. No, Dumbledore agreed softly. She is not meant to. McGonagall stopped cold. She is a child, Albus. And Destiny, Dumbledore replied, eyes reflecting starlight, has never cared for age. Chapter 21, the end of year 1. Time skip Gryffindor common room, late evening. The fire crackled warmly, casting gold light over scarlet armchairs. Students chattered, played chess, or finished homework. Hayley sat curled near the hearth, hugging her knees. She was trying but failing to ignore the buzzing sensation beneath her skin. Iris sat beside her, voice soft. You're shaking again. It won't stop, Hayley murmured. I feel like there's something in me, like my magic wants to say something but I don't speak the language. James dropped into the chair opposite her. You're not alone, Hales. Whatever this is, you'll handle it. Sirius flopped into the seat beside James, grinning. And if you explode, we'll tell your story heroically. Very heroic. Lots of fire. Remus rolled his eyes. You're not helping. Hayley opened her mouth to reply, but her wand hummed. Softly at first, then louder. The flames in the fireplace flickered blue, and the students froze. A spark burst from her wand, then another, then a ring of golden light erupted around her. Everyone gasped. Hayley stood up abruptly, panicked. I'm not doing anything. The ring expanded, silent, shimmering, harmless yet powerful enough to rattle the windows. Her magic wasn't begging, it was claiming. The ring collapsed inward and vanished, leaving the room dead silent. James whispered, awed but afraid, What are you becoming? Hayley didn't answer as she didn't know. Time skip, the next day, greenhouse path. It smelled of wet grass and summer wind. Hayley walked alone, head down, trying to avoid eye contact with living things. Even the shrubs seemed to lean toward her. Potter, a voice called out. She stopped and turned around to see Regulus approaching, robes straight, expression composed, though his cheeks were pink. He cleared his throat. Yesterday, with the plants, and last night the magic eye, words abandoned him. Hayley's eyebrows raised. Yes. He inhaled sharply, then exhaled. You're different. Hayley lowered her head. I didn't ask to be. Regulus hesitated, then comes out with, I don't think being different is bad. Hayley blinked and he swallowed. In my family, power earns fear, but your magic isn't frightening, it's... He struggled, cheeks now a darker shade of red. Beautiful. Hayley stared. Regulus slowly realized what he said, then he turned around and sprinted away. Hayley stood frozen. Her magic hummed, pleased. Iris stepped out from behind a tree, smirking. You know he likes you, right? Hayley groaned. Please let the ground eat me. Time skipped the Great Hall. Candles floated high above, their flames steady despite the murmur of voices and the scrape of benches. Plates sat forgotten. No one cared about pudding when 4 towering hourglasses stood full beside the staff table. Rubies, sapphires, emeralds, and diamonds waiting. Professor McGonagall stood tall at Dumbledore's side, expression unreadable. Professor Slughorn reclined comfortably in his chair, eyes drifting more than once towards the Slytherin table. Professor Sprout smiled warmly, fingers laced together, while Professor Flitwick rocked gently on his heels, barely containing his excitement. Dumbledore rose, and the hall fell silent at once. Another year at Hogwarts, he said kindly, has come to an end. A ripple of applause followed. But before you board the Hogwarts Express and scatter back into the world, no doubt leaving a trail of mischief in your wake, there remains the small matter of the house cup. Cheers broke out, quickly quieted as Dumbledore lifted a hand. The final standing are as follows. With a flick of his wand, the hourglasses shimmered. Ravenclaw, 306 points. Polite applause followed. A few Ravenclaws nodded thoughtfully, already dissecting where they'd lost ground. Hufflepuff, 314 points. Warm cheers rose from the yellow and black table. Amos Diggory, broad-shouldered and earnest even at his age, clapped loudly for his housemates, grinning with pride. Slytherin, 322 points. The Slytherin table erupted. Green banners quivered as celebration broke out early. At the center sat Lucius Malfoy, prefect's badge gleaming against immaculate robes. He leaned back, pale fingers steepled, a thin, satisfied smile already in place. Victory was expected. It always was. Further down the table, Severus Snape watched intently, black eyes sharp and calculating. Professor Slughorn beamed, but Dumbledore waited as the noise slowly died down. "Which means," he said mildly, "that I have a few additional points to award." The air shifted, and Lucius's smile tightened. At the Gryffindor table, James straightened instantly. Sirius leaned forward, eyes bright with anticipation. Remus stilled, sensing the weight in Dumbledore's tone. Peter swallowed hard. "I wish to award points to Miss Iris Evans," Dumbledore said. Iris froze, and Lily looks over to her. "For exceptional loyalty," he continued, "and courage shown when fear would have been the easier choice. 50 points to Gryffindor." The Gryffindor table exploded. James whooped, Sirius banged his goblet against the table, and Iris stared in stunned disbelief as cheers washed over her. "And," Dumbledore went on, his voice lowering just slightly, "to Miss Hayley Potter." The hall quieted again. Hayley's heart pounded painfully in her chest. "For perseverance in the face of fear," Dumbledore said, eyes fixed on her. "For choosing restraint when power urged otherwise. And for understanding that magic is not something to wield, but something one must answer to." His wand tapped the desk once. 60 points to Gryffindor. The rubies surged. The numbers rearranged themselves. Gryffindor, 368. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then scarlet and gold bannered unfurled from the ceiling. The lion roared. The great hall erupted. James leapt to his feet, dragging Sirius up with him. Remus laughed openly, rare and unguarded. Peter cheered so hard his voice cracked. Iris covered her mouth, overwhelmed as Lily cheered and hugging her younger sister. At the Slytherin table, celebration went into silence. Lucius's smile vanished entirely. His eyes locked onto Hayley, not angry, assessing, remembering. From the shadows on the other end of the Slytherin table, Severus watched too, not with envy, but with sharp, unsettling interest. Professor Slughorn's pleased expression faltered. Hayley remained seated. Applause thundered around her, but she barely heard it. A warmth stirred beneath her skin. Golden, patient, and Dumbledore met her gaze across the hall, not triumphant but watchful. Magic had not rewarded her, it had noticed her, and it was already waiting for what came next. Time skip Hogwarts Express. Steam clouded the platform. Students hugged, waved, promised letters they would never write. Hayley leaned out of the train window, watching Hogwarts disappear behind the hill. Her heart twisted fear, belonging, and something else. Anticipation. She glanced at her wand, and it pulsed softly. A quiet glow gold like an ember waiting to ignite. Iris nudged her. "Next year will be easier." Hayley laughed hollowly. "You think magic cares what I want?" James joined them, throwing an arm over her shoulders. "No, but you've got us." Hayley relaxed, just a little. Then the sky darkened. Clouds swirled into a spiral directly above the train, lightning-tinged gold. Hayley's wand vibrated and a single word burned across her palm, glowing like molten script. ASCNSIO. Iris gasped. "Hayley, it's marking you." Hayley's breath hitched. Magic didn't choose lightly or kindly. James whispered, voice trembling. "You're not just learning magic, you're becoming it." Hayley closed her fist over the mark, and for the first time she wasn't scared. She was ready.